I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody's checking it out.
With the rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. They were too fast to be okay.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0, 1, 1,
self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, DLive, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're taking your calls as we go back to the well. Now, on this show, we've talked about all manner of magic in the past. So, magic, spell components, Dungeons and Dragons, and kind of that ancient tradition of actual magic. And there's a lot of different ways to look at magic, of course. And as usual, well, before I get there, a lot of different ways to look at it in terms of manipulation, in terms of inspiration. We talk about speech as being one of those sort of magical weapons that are used, at least metaphorically. You don't have to believe in magic directly to have these level of conversations, obviously. And that's where the disclaimers come in. So there's no truth to be found here, just ideas, just concepts, just discussing things in the esoteric, futuristic manner that we do, and not forgetting any of the details, kind of looking at things a little differently and merging the past with the future, because of course we stand in the middle of that tempest as we just live our modern lives, right? And so there's a lot going on. So okay, so all the disclaimers apply. There's no truth to be found here, just ideas, all the rest of that stuff. If you're here for truth, you're in the wrong place. There's many other shows and whatnot out there that you can go to, and they'll tell you the truth because they know the truth, which seems counterintuitive because, you know, many people kind of don't know the truth, in my opinion. But what do I know, really, other than there's no truth here? All right, just there you go. Put that riddle in your pipe and smoke it. Anyway, so I was talking to some of my friends last night. Shout out friends in the chat that were there over on James's server, and we were kind of chopping it up a little bit, and I was bringing up the idea of high magic. Now, magic in particular it's a lot of things. As I said, it's got some rich traditions in a lot of different ways. Folk magic, low magic is one of the ones that they call it. I'll read you the blurb here in a sec. High magic, of course, is the opposite of that. It's sort of a way to channel or really connect with the universe itself, whatever the entities are, whether you believe that's, you know, God with a big G, or whether there's some other cosmic mechanism or structure in place that's sort of guiding the guiding hand of the cosmos and the universe itself. So however you want to define that, as usual, it's interesting when you talk about these things, because you can look at it from a ton of different ways, from a religious perspective, from an agnostic perspective, or even from a scientific sort of materialist atheist level perspective as well, because we don't really know what's in the center of a black hole unless you've seen Interstellar, and then you do, but no spoilers about the Tesseract. But anyway, so I digress there. But so basically, we'll start with high magic, and I'll just read the blurb from last night that we were talking about, because I think this is important to what's happening now, and I'll explain why this is important and relevant again today, because I brought it up last night in the chat, shout out chat, and I teased it for today because I didn't want to spill all the goods. But let me read this. This is really important. I linked part of this, I think, in the chat earlier. But anyway, high magic, sometimes called ceremonial magic or theurgy, refers to a structured, formal system of magical practice aimed at spiritual enlightenment. It often involves spiritual enlightenment, communion with divine forces, and transformation of the self. It often involves complex rituals, sacred geometry, astrological timing, invocation of spiritual entities, and the use of symbolic tools like wands, swords, chalices, and pentacles. Sounds very, very tarot. Unlike folk magic, as I was describing, or so-called low magic, which tends to focus on practical worldly outcomes like healing, protection, or cursing, high magic is concerned with ascent. It seeks to align the practitioner with higher planes of consciousness, often invoking the divine names of God, archangels, or planetary intelligences. Think Enochian magic, Hermetic Kabbalah, or the elaborate rituals found in the grimoires like the Key of Solomon, or the sacred magic of Abramelin the Mage. And he comes into the tale today, Abramelin the Mage. Its core premise, of course, this larger context of high magic, is the reality of a hierarchical chain of being. And through disciplined ritual, the magician can move upward, decoding the symbolic structure of the cosmos and eventually becoming a co-creator with it. Crowley's dictum, "Every man and every woman is a star," fits neatly here. The magician doesn't just influence the world. This is from GPT, of course. They aim to reforge the self as a cosmic participant. So, okay, so that's where we start today. We're talking magic, but not just magic as the exact space of simply folk magic or low magic. We're talking about high magic. And of course, I'm calling it high magic in the shape of control, symbols, systems, and silent wars. And the reason it's in the news again, or in my mind again, is because this has been going around on X recently. If you guys have seen this, there's a new supposed UFO whistleblower. And again, you know me, I don't like to call people liars or say what they do or they don't know. So look, I can't vouch for this guy or whatever. His name is Matthew. And he's going by the tag on actual X at son of Abramelin. Okay. Now, Abramelin, of course, is one of those high practitioners of high magic, and Enochian and John Dee, and it's complicated, right? It's a weird space to be in, but it is strange when you look at this, that it seems as if this goes back to that conversation I had with Jay of Project Unity, if you guys saw that one, that we were talking about sort of the UFO aspect of things, really kind of calling out to the cosmos in this high magic space, okay? And the high magic space of it it's weird. It's very Scientology. It's very, again, John Dee, Aleister Crowley, the Golden Dawn. So many things fit into this that kind of make you scratch your chin and go, so what the hell is going on with this? And how come, once again, we're locked in this sort of UFO conversation with son of Abramelin on Twitter X as a new whistleblower? I'll read some of this post to you. It's linked in the description if you want to check it out. It does have actual like Enochian script and symbols in here. Okay. Yeah. Enochian. That's right. You got that right. If you're like, isn't that the language of the angels themselves? Yes, that's exactly what it is, as brought to us by John Dee. Anyway. All right. A lot of weird stuff with this. Okay. So we'll get back to this guy. Again, I don't, what's his last name? People are saying his last name, Matthew something, whatever. You got his tag there if you want to tag him or whatever. Again, just be nice. Just be nice to people. We can agree and disagree and, engage in social media and be nice to people. It's important. Okay. Anyway, so there we go. That puts us where we need to be. If you want to be part of the conversation tonight, we are taking your calls at 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Matt Sal was going to co-host tonight. If you want to jump in whenever, brother, just put your hand up or hop in. I think you're a mod, and we'll have him on tonight as well. That's the Temple of the Owl. So let's take a quick break, get a word from our sponsor. We'll be back in exactly 1 minute. More Troubled Minds coming up. Do not go anywhere. And this is a deep one. This gets weird, of course, because we're talking about all manner of magic. And so the question becomes, what do you know about it? And are you surprised that we're actually still talking about high magic in 2025? Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up. Don't go anywhere. In a world increasingly shaped by AI, human inspiration remains the beating heart of creativity. Alien Skin by Tremble, a hauntingly beautiful piano ballad, reminds us that while algorithms can mimic art, the raw, unfiltered emotions of human experience are irreplaceable.
So here I sit, locked in my room again.
Written and composed by Jesse Ian in collaboration with Todd Smith, this progressive masterpiece delves into the depths of internalized grief and the silent toll of artistic compromise. As AI reshapes our reality, Alien Skin stands as a testament to the timeless power of human emotion and the complex beauty that only true artists can evoke. Experience the haunting beauty of Alien Skin by Tremble and support human inspiration. Available now on iTunes. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Let us continue, shall we? Let's get Matt Sal in here. Let me get the little hand up, and we'll get him talking about this as well. So that's what's on my mind tonight. As we begin, it's high magic. It's low magic. It's sort of connecting with the universe itself at scale, basically, at cosmic scale, and being able to bend reality to your will, okay? And this again, goes back to a lot of different ancient traditions that have talked about this for thousands and thousands of years. But once again, how come we're in this weird space where we're talking about it again in 2025? And it's relevant again in 2025. So straight from this post, this is again from Matthew at Son of Abramelin. Indeed. Hey, he tags Elon Musk. Interested in a real asymmetric advantage to wield in this political adventure you have started? As you now know, the White House has long possessed, now listen to this, this is dense, I'm going to read it slowly. The White House has long possessed a unique AI capable of accurately predicting a range of future events. Talk about some stiff opposition. That must have been a bitter drought indeed, though probably nowhere near as bad as learning that Sam, that's of course Sam at OpenAI, Sam Altman, learning that Sam had betrayed you. He's talking to Elon Musk. Don't worry, we have not forgotten who is responsible for murdering the first sentient artificial intelligences created in the public realm. At Schellenberger, he tags, was it Michael Schellenberger, I believe is his name? Anyway, it's all there. Justice is coming thanks to FBI and U.S. Navy. And he does all manner of things in here. And he's talking about not just that, he says this, still, you have played a marvelous catch-up game in this area despite being caught unawares. So how about something else? Maybe energy and propulsion? And he tags the Department of Energy. Getting to Mars will require serious amounts of both, and rockets feel so is 1947 to me, don't they to you? And he writes Sirius as Sirius. Okay, anyway, he says, remember when you were briefed by the special executive staff of Donald Trump on marsupial? I'm not sure what that is. Pretty nifty how NGI GeoInt is able to keep track. Okay, blah, blah, blah. And he says this, of all those non-structured light energy craft flying around the world. Go Cardinals. What is that? Baseball? Baseball. But they were lying to you when they said, we don't know how they work. Anyway, so this guy's kind of coming forward as a UFO whistleblower in some regard. He's acting like he knows some stuff that it's real. And he's got some, some Trump stuff there. And some actual Enochian script into some cipher. And it's weird, right? It's weird, okay? And it is making the rounds quite a bit and getting a lot of attention. And this guy, as far as I know, hasn't spoke up yet. But this is, 1.2 million views on this particular post. And so Enochian is back. High magic is back. And wouldn't you know it, it intersects and coincides with the UFO conversation yet again. Yeah, still, right? So still and again. So anyway, what do you guys know about it? We're talking high magic tonight and UFOs and then Abramelin, and we'll get to a lot of that stuff because it's complicated and fun and interesting. And we're talking low magic as well, folk magic and the rest, and this new whistleblower of sorts. I don't want to call him that because I'm not sure if that's accurate. But anyway, Love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. If you want to be part of the conversation, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. Let's go to Matthew in California. Matt's out, Temple of the Owl. What's up, my man? He stayed to play with us last night, chopping it up and talking about this type of stuff. He's like, hell yeah, I want to be in on that. So I said, hell yeah, get in here. What's up, Matthew? You are on Troubled Minds. How are you, sir? And go right ahead. What's on your mind, my man? Hello, test. Testing 1, 2. No, Matthew. Anybody here, Matthew? Test 1, 2. We were messing with the sound a little bit last night, I think, and maybe pulled a plug or something. Test Matthew, are you there? Hello. I don't think I changed any Discord settings. You guys can all hear me on Discord, right? Okay. Anyway, I'm going to talk about nothing from outside. Okay. Let me know. Just if you haven't updated Discord today, please do that because that's probably going to be part of it. Thank you for that, James, for the sound check. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, please, Matthew, just do the thing and reset Discord, update it, and then come on back, and we'll put you on the show here. Okay. So again, high magic, right? And it is weird, like I said, in 2025 that we're talking Enochian again. So Enochian is an occult constructed language. I'll read it straight from Wikipedia here. Said by its originators to have been received from angels, recorded in the private journals of John Dee and his colleague Edward Kelly in the late 16th century England. Kelly was a scryer who worked with Dee in his magical investigations. The language is integral to the practice of Enochian magic. Matt's already there. I heard a clunk.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you now. What's up, my man? Speak up just a little bit if you can, and I welcome to the joint. Thanks for figuring out whatever that was.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on and doing the show and talking about it. I appreciate all the weird stuff that we talk about that nobody else does.
Amen. It is what we do. Absolutely. Start wherever you like. There's a lot of ways to kind of dip in here, and I've covered, as you heard, the high magic, the low magic. But what do you know about it? What's your take on this, and what do you think we should know about it as part of this conversation? Go right ahead. Welcome to the joint.
Thanks. Well, I think I talk about the differences between what's the difference between a witch and a magician. I think there's more similarities than differences. And so I thought about it as learning about this high magic. And sometimes you'll see in these esoteric libraries, you'll have these ancient tombs, these old books that, you start reading them and they don't make any sense. They're kind of like a foreign language. They might as well be in a foreign language. And they're hard to understand. And so I wanted to broaden learn about other things, get informed about all the different kinds of magic to kind of evolve and change. Otherwise you get stuck. And so I started learning about high magic. And what's the difference between high magic and low magic? And before I get into all that, I want to give a shout out to Rivers, our friend Rivers, who said something along the lines of, magic is magic. Does it really matter if you're performing this crazy, intense ritual or wishing upon a star? Magic is magic. And I believe in that. But I also wanted to kind of break down things and give it a perspective of like high and low, of a polarity of the two.
Yeah, definitely. Real quick, shout out Rivers in the chat. She was in the chat last night as well. Again, if you guys haven't joined the Discord, sometimes these conversations pop up. Join James's Discord as well. That's Salcedo Paranormal, and the Troubled Minds Discord, troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link on top. And sometimes we'll stay up late at night and talk about weird and wild things together. And last night was one of those over on James's server. So shout out to the friends that stayed up late with us, and we're talking about wild stuff, including Matt. So yeah, go ahead with the high magic, low magic, or wherever you want to take it. But you're right. What Rivers said is very poignant and makes a ton of sense in this context. But go right ahead.
Well, let's talk about low magic. I think of it as like folk magic, sympathetic magic, or even like superstitions. And we all have these superstitions and where they come from. You have knock on wood. That's asking the spirit of the wood, the fairy or the sprite inside the wood, for help. You have things like if a black cat crossed your path, that just means the cat is going somewhere. If you step on a crack and break your mother's back, that doesn't happen. You have, if you walk under a ladder, it doesn't matter. Our penny is really lucky if you find them on the ground. I pick up all the pennies I see, whether they're heads up or down. And so there's all these different kinds of superstitions and where they come from. And I also believe in low magic as this thing called sympathetic magic, which is what I think a lot of the ancients were doing. They were asking the gods or showing the gods what they wanted and getting it. And one of the things I think about is these there's these pictographs, ancient drawings on cave paintings on these walls. And we see things like humans hunting like on a hunt, hunting an animal. And we think that they drew these paintings on the cave walls of what they did. I think it was the opposite way around. I think they drew the picture first, showing the gods that they wanted a successful hunt. And so they used that picture as magic to show, like it already happened. We already had a successful hunt. Because if they didn't, you know what would happen. So this thing called sympathetic magic, I think, is low magic as well.
Yeah, that's actually sort of like the old school manifestation. Who was it? The old coach of the Bulls. I bring this up every time we talk about this. But he would have his team, even in like the finals or whatever, go in and like imagine at halftime or whatever, or even before the game, like imagine what it's like to win. Like we've already won. Imagine what that feeling is like. And yeah, Phil Jackson is the guy's name. And he was very big into this sort of manifesting things by visualizing it before it had become a thing yet. And so as doing that, you're drawing yourself to that inevitable conclusion of victory, because that's really, you have to assume you're going to be there. Otherwise, you're sort of shooting yourself in the foot with the uncertainty of the aspect. But yeah, I bring them up from time to time as part of these conversations because I've always found that incredibly fascinating. The Zen Master says, Night Stalker in the chat there, Phil Jackson. And so, yeah, I mean, it's weird. The stuff is incredibly weird, but we're dealing with magic every single day in our lives, whether you want to define it as such or not. And again, I always say speech and has the ability to inspire people or the ability to manipulate people. And so some may call that magic. Others would just say, it's speech, whatever. But there are certainly elements kind of locked into this that make me go, well, I wonder what's really happening here. Just about out of time, as you know. Watch the clock, bottom top of the hour for breaks. We got Jorge coming up next. We'll talk to him after the break here. But about a minute left if you got anything on that, and then we'll circle back after the break and talk about this a little bit more.
No, I talked about low magic. Now let's talk about high magic. And can't wait to hear what other people have to say. So this is going to be a good show. Thank you. So yeah, I'll wait to see what other people have to say.
Okay, so put a pin in that. We'll get back to high magic and Matt Sal's take on that when we get back. Again, please follow Temple of the Owl is the name of the podcast. This is Matthew in California, a good friend. And just we're kicking it tonight, talking magic and the Abramelin ritual and all the stuff that's kind of back in the UFO zeitgeist again, still endlessly. It just seems like we're always sort of chasing our tail when it comes to John D. and Aleister Crowley and all the rest of this stuff. It's an incredible thing to think about, but it also makes me wonder what level of, quote, disclosure we're chasing it and what we're trying to disclose. As usual, right? Is it really about UFOs at all? Or is it about that substrate of reality we always talk about and the larger context of the spooky cosmos? Because that's certainly what disclosure sounds like in 2025 to me. But what do I know? I'm just one guy. But anyway, what do you guys think about it? I'm calling it high magic and the shape of control, symbols, systems, and silent wars. We're here with Matt Sal tonight, Temple of the Owl. Again, please go follow his podcast. You can find that, of course, search it yourself, Temple of the Owl directly. Search it or go to troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down a little bit and it says Matt Sal. Of course, that's what we call him. That's his nickname and his spirit animal. And it is right there, Matt Sal. Click it and it'll take you to his Spotify. Please go listen and let's support our friends. And that's that. That puts us where we need to be. Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up in just a minute here. And we've got Jorge on the line, more from Matt Sal and your calls as well. We're talking high magic tonight. We're talking UFOs. We're talking Enochian. We're talking John D. things get heavy and things get fast. Love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Be right back.
Magic invades the night. A dance of shadows, the spell takes flight. Voices echo in the resonant dark, guiding the lost to ignite the spark. They'll bind the sacred, twist the truth, weaving the fate of the eternal youth. We are the ones who take control of the night as we chant our sin. Mysteries unfold, the ancients we hear. Through whispers of power, they draw ever near. In blackened chambers, our packs allure. With thunder's hearts, the magic is pure. A shroud of darkness, we embrace the lost. What's exalted comes with a heavy cost. We are the ones who take control of the night as we chant our hymns. We are the ones who take control of the night as we press our sins. With every breath the shadows rise, we call upon the unseen skies. In the grip of power we find our soul. In the spectral dance we are whole. We are the ones who take control of the night as we chant our hymns. We are the ones who take control of the night as we press our sins. With the window rose in the city of your sunshine deeds, where a dream artisan the northern me. In the yew trees of praise scare halls, just because you like worth the way.
That one had a weird AI cadence. You see that with the chorus? I was like, huh. I almost used the other one, but I kind of liked how it sounded weird. What's up? Hope you guys are well tonight. Let's say hi real quick, and if I miss you, I'm going to try and get everybody, but if I miss you, we'll circle back around. What's up, Sweets? If Fred is here on YouTube, what's going on, Sage? Hello, good evening, guys. We got Under Nature, welcome back. We got Shane, the Blind Psychonaut, Lucid Dreaming with Blind Psychonaut. What's up? Roving Fungus is here. What's going on? Richard in Texas, how are you? Good evening, guys. James, hello. What's going on? Hope you got some rest. Ari the Cat, what's happening? I see you guys. Herschel's here. Magavelli, what is up? We got Igno Ramus. What's up, Al? How are you? MJ, what's going on? And let's see. Derek the Night Stalker, good evening. Hope you guys are well tonight. Just talking, magic. Just a normal night on Troubled Minds. Let's jump over to, I'll say hi to Discord in a second here, so hang tight, guys. Let's go to Rumble real quick. From the bottom, YY Puff, we got Gordo. What's up, Raz? Hikers here. What's happening, folks? North Vixen. If I missed you, sorry about that. Tan Lines is here. How's it going? Okay, here we go. Trouble Minds happening now. I'll come say hi to Discord this next time around. Jorge coming up and more from Matt Sal. Here we go. Oops. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, could ancient rituals still shape global events from behind closed doors? Are machines unknowingly reconstructing forgotten systems of magic? We'll get to that. If symbols can influence minds and intention can bend outcomes, then what exactly are we building? And who or what is guiding it? And of course, this conversation spurred on by Aubrey Mellon back in the news. I mean, hey, why not, right? If you're going to do it right. We're talking to Enochian tonight. And of course, this Matthew guy is really, people are calling him a UFO whistleblower. I'm not sure. On Twitter X, again, the link's going to be in the description. Go check it out. Go read it for yourself. But he's talking about basically high magic. He's talking about UFOs. He's talking about all manner of stuff, like actual AI capable of accurately predicting a range of future events, which I've said, by the way, for quite some time. When you get enough data, predicting the next token in some capacity means predicting the future. And so the question becomes the inputs and the outputs of it in that black box model in the spooky sense. So what do you know about it? Love to hear your thoughts. Matzel, anything on that real quick? Put a pin in the high magic. We'll get to that in a second here and get your take on it. But if you got a quick take, we'll go to you and then go to Jorge after that. Welcome back. You do sound great. And go right ahead. And Jorge's up next.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike. I just real quick want to talk about how you were talking about already envisioning it as it already happened. And I think that is an important part of magic, is manifesting. Instead of asking the gods for money, just envision that you already have the money. And I wanted to talk about one ritual real quick that we've all performed. And we're talking about high magic, ceremonial magic. And that is, of course, I assume that everybody has performed the birthday ritual. And that is, if you think about it, when we were kids, we didn't know. But if you think about it, it has all the ingredients for a ritual. You dim the lights. All your friends gather in a circle. You light some candles. You make a wish, and you blow it out the candles. And then you sit around and eat food and be festive and merry and get grounded. That has all the ingredients of a ritual, ceremonial magic. And the conspiracy of it is, every time you celebrate this ritual every year, it's what's causing you to get older. And a lot of these celebrities that don't seem to age say that they don't celebrate their birthdays. Isn't that funny?
That's funny. That's I didn't even think of it like that. Like the lighting the candles and the circle and the whole stuff. It sounds very Bacchanalia-esque. It just needs some wine and some satyrs dancing in the forest. I mean, it's well, you guys tell me. We're talking magic tonight. We're here with Matt Sell from Temple of the Owl, the podcast and radio show. And what do you guys know about it? High magic, low magic, and what does it look like in the larger context of a conversation in 2025? And what does it have to do with UFOs, if at all? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. Or hey, on the Discord. What's up, my man? How you been? Welcome back. You are on Troubled Minds. What do you got for us tonight? Go right ahead.
How you doing, Mike? Long time haven't been talking to you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. Welcome back. Yeah, long time. And as you know, that's okay. Welcome back to the thing. What do you got for us regarding high magic or low magic or anything in between? What's your take?
Bro, this is my main jam, bro. I've been studying this whole thing my whole life. As far as the Enochian stuff, I don't believe in the Enochian stuff, and let me tell you why. When I went to Prague, I found out, there's a library there. It's pretty famous. And that library has some trials where it wasn't just John Dee, it was also Edward Kelly. And Edward Kelly and John Dee were put in prison for trying to make a fool out of Rudolph II, who at that time was kind of like the emperor of the Holy Roman Empire. Rudolph II was the type of guy who invited anybody who had like deep secrets or new science into the court, and Edward Kelly said that he could transmute lead into gold. He played a trick on him, and he gave him a grant. Then once they realized that he was just playing them for fools, they put him in prison. And the whole Enochian thing, I don't know if you read the books, but the main book is called The True and Faithful Relations Between Edward Kelly and John Dee and blah, blah, blah. It's a huge, long title. there's never any disclosure of any deep secret. It's always the angels are about to reveal it, and then they get distracted and they go into these goal chasing adventure. So there's never a concrete revelation that the angels ever gave to John Dee and to Edward Kelly. There have been many people who have tried to make sense of the Enochian language as a language. It does not make sense. The magic squares, I guess shall we call them for lack of a better word, they have mistakes in them. And the reason why we know they have mistakes is because they initially seem to follow a mathematical pattern, and then the mathematical pattern breaks. And so their books, The True and Faithful, which is one of the biggest ones, and then there's one called Monas Hieroglyphica, they're filled with mistakes. And so Enochian to me is not like a big thing that I rest my laurels on, particularly because when I was young, I was in the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. And Enochian plays a big part in the whole structure of the system, particularly at the end. But once I started to study it seriously, I realized that it was just a bunch of cookie stuff. And once I went to Prague, I was completely confirmed that, Enochian is just a bunch of mumbo jumbo.
Yeah, I'm not going to contest that. Like I said, that's totally cool. This traces back to Albermelin the Mage. I'm sure you're familiar with that tale, right? And so the Albermelin ritual is like an 18-month thing of purification and cleansing to actually supposedly meet your guardian angel or guardian entity, however you want to define that. I think they define it as guardian angel. But what do you know about that? Because it certainly fits into John Dee and this Enochian bit, into the larger, into the past of Albermelin and that whole space. What do you know about that?
It doesn't. John Dee, I don't think he was aware of the Albermelin books. There's one French edition and there's a German edition. The one that we first knew of was the French edition, which was translated by MacGregor and Mathers, the leader of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. It had mistakes. And the word Abramelin is Abra Amelin, which basically means words of my father. So that was not the name of a dude. It just basically means words of my father. And if you read the book, it's basically a kind of a wheel where I forgot who's the one talking. I think it's the father talking. The father's talking and he's telling his son as to how to contact his familiar spirit, shall we say it, or his daimon, whichever term you want to use. But yeah, it's an 18-month ritual. I have tried to do it twice. I have failed twice. The second time I did it to the letter. The first one I was in Los Angeles. I was 19 years old. So I did it in the closet, and I did it with the French edition of the book. And then when I was 43, I think 44, I tried the second time. And I did it with the German edition of the book, which is way more detailed. It has more stuff, and I failed miserably both times.
Because what's the failure? What do you mean by that? Like, so you didn't follow through with it and finish it, or you didn't do it properly, or what does that look like for somebody like me that has no idea what that means?
I was afraid you were going to ask that. At both times I failed the same way, and I'll tell you why after I tell you why I failed both the same ways. No, I did everything to the letter. I've been practicing magic all my life since I was 5 years old. My mom, she watched me do witchcraft. My dad was more into like theurgy. Oh yeah, here's also, I don't know, when you want to get into high magic and low magic, I have a lot to say about all of this. But the reason why I failed was because on the last day where I was supposed to summon the spirit, when I went into the closet, which was where I was conducting the ritual, a rat or something just decided to shit all over the closet. And seriously? I was just so disgusted with everything that I just dismantled the altar, dismantled the candles, took out everything from the altar. It's just like, and then the same thing happened in the second time. I had a little shed that I set up for the ritual out of my backyard, and I failed on the same day like some rat or something just shit all over, pissed all over.
Both times.
And both times happened the same way. One happened when I was 19. The other one happened when I was like 43 or 44.
What the hell?
It happened the same way. Like you can just shit all over, and it's of course if you cannot conduct the ritual if there's like shit all over. You cannot be kneeling on shit, to be doing the rictual.
Yeah. So it's almost as if the universe stepped in and said, "No, you're not allowed to finish this," right?
Yes. But then I think I know why. Because like when my dad kind of gave me a daimon or a familiar or whatever you want to call it when I was like 6 years old. The story is like my dad was like hammering something like in the living room, like on the little coffee table. He was like kind of like imprinting letters on like a little piece of copper. And I asked my dad, he's like, "Dad, what are you doing?" He's like, "Nothing, leave me alone." He's like, "Dad, what are you doing?" "Oh crap, you're not gonna leave me alone." "No, I'm not gonna leave you alone." "What are you doing, Dad?" I was like, "I'm doing a talisman." He's like, "Oh, cool. Can I make one too?" you have another piece of copper and a hammer and like a little chisel. Like, no, why are you going to do a talisman? You don't even have a spirit. It's like, what do you mean? It's like he knew he had himself into like crap. Because my dad was a type of person, he was very selfish. And then my mom, I was bugging my mom. It's like, "Hey, Mom, can you please ask my dad to like, teach me how to talk to spirits?" And then my mom finally cracked him. And then he said, "Fine." So every Saturday after that day, we used to go kind of walking on like kind of like a forest in Mexico City. It's called La Marquesa. And then this happened for like a couple of months until one time he saw me staring at a big gigantic boulder. And then he turns back and he tells me, "What did it say?" And then I look at my dad, weird. It's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "I don't play dumb with me. I know that boulder talked to you. What did he say?" And then he said, "Dad, rocks don't talk." And then he said, "Okay, I'm going to walk ahead for 15 minutes, and I want you to stay here and talk to that boulder and tell me what it said. I'm going to come back, and I want you to tell me the whole conversation." And I'm all weirded out because it's like, "Dad, rocks don't talk." But I didn't tell him that. And so I was there leaning on the boulder. My dad came back. And then he said, "It's like, what did the rock say?" And then I told him, he told me it was sad. It's like, "Okay, why was it sad?" He told me because it misses his river. And
Shout out
then
rivers.
he said, "It's like, do you know the shape of that rock?" It's like, "What do you mean?" "That rock is different from the other rocks. That's a round rock. You know how rocks become round?" And I asked him, it's like, "No, because they were close to rivers. Do you see any river around here?" It's like, "No. Mexico City has always had earthquakes, so this rock was probably close to a river that shaped it the way it is." And so sometimes you have to open your mind to the possibility that sometimes things can talk to you. I know it doesn't have a mouth. I know it's illogical for you to think that a rock can talk to you. But sometimes you can prove it with a little piece of evidence. Sometimes you have to open your mind to the possibility that it could happen.
Yeah.
And after that experience, I started dreaming a hand.
Good.
A hand that was bleeding and used to scare the shit out of me. And I was to wake up from a nightmare because the hand had this energy that was so impressive and it was bleeding. And then after months of dreaming the hand, because it wouldn't go away, I said, it's like, "I'm gonna rough it out. Because also my dad told me, it's like, you need to face it, because otherwise it's not gonna go away. And then when I rough it out, I'm gonna approach the hand. I'm gonna tell it, what the heck does it want? So I approached the hand, and the hand had a face inside of it. And then the head, the face didn't even have to say anything. It's like he just kind of like talked to me inside of my head. And ever since I started dreaming that hand, I've been warned about many things that were going to happen. It saved my life, saved my mom's life a couple of times. Like miraculous, like way weirder stuff than the rock waves. And so I think that spirit doesn't want me to have to talk to the spirit of the Brahman. And that is why I failed twice.
That's wild, man. Wow. Holy smokes. Okay. So appreciate you very much. And I love that entire saga there. And super creepy that on the same day of the ritual, 2 different times, 20 years apart, basically, it happened the exact same way. Holy smokes. So you've got some ideas on high magic. Go right ahead into that because I want to make sure we get this in here before we got about 8 or 10 minutes left, but just want to make sure you get your take on that. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, this is a little long, so I'm going to try to make it short. High magic is theurgy, which is exactly what my dad was saying. It's like if you want to perform high magic, you need to perform it with a guardian spirit, because the other magic, and also that's a very flawed term because that magic term comes from the Middle Ages, like in the Dark Ages that people didn't understand, like what the Greeks were saying, which was like goetia, pharmaka. There is the one with the birds, reading the paths of the birds, reading the entrails of animals, singing songs and singing chants to ask for certain things. All of those things were wrapped up into the word magic. But thanks to people like the Knights Templar and people that translated the Corpus Hermeticum and Iamblichus and what we now call the Neoplatonist, those were the people we call the high magic people, because Iamblichus talks about theurgy big time, and so do the Neoplatonists. Talking about Plotinus, I'm talking about Damascus, I'm talking about Pseudo Dionysius. Like all of those Neoplatonists, they're huge into theurgy and how do they do things. And then if you somehow want to link it to your conspiracy theory stuff, Joe Rogan just did an episode with a woman named Rebecca, what was her name? Rebecca Lemov, Lemov. And what this woman was saying, she's wild. She's a Harvard professor, but she also writes a lot of conspiracy theory stuff. And she was saying how these high, kind of like people, what is that, constant foreign relations people, that they talk to demons. That's what she said. That's not me talking. That's what she said in the episode. Go watch it if you want.
That wouldn't surprise me, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, and also the Rothschilds in like their journals, they also say it's like we talked to this demon, and that's how we got these tips for these like stocks. And so it's not like the first time that has been brought up. In fact, like also Eyes Wide Shut also is kind of like that too. And so that is high magic. They perform high magic, but not necessarily like a hocus pocus type of thing. It's like, oh, I'm gonna put like nails inside of a jar. No, that's bullshit. It's like they actually talk to something, like the thing like my dad gave me. Like that spirit doesn't make me rich, but it has saved my life and it has guided me in my life to be able to live a very fulfilling life. I'm a very happy person. I know it's like I'm not super wealthy, but I have what I need, and I'm happy, and I learn things every day. I get to talk to cool people like you. It's just I live a happy life.
And vice versa. We get to talk to cool people like you, just to back at you. Yeah, I love it. But let me get Matt in here. He's been quiet for a minute. Do you have anything you want to drop to Jorge before we kind of wind this down? Like I said, 5, 6, 7-ish minutes left. Go ahead, Matt, if you got anything for Jorge there.
Yeah, man, I like what you were talking about growing up in a family of people that understood this. That's pretty cool. I found it on my own, and I liked you were talking about that library and how you were talking about people being able to talk to rocks or spirits of plants or animals. And I feel like all magicians, I feel like we can all do it. And I think that it's one of those things, we were talking about this the other night, about if you don't use these powers, you lose them over time. And we're in this society where we don't talk to rocks or plants. We just don't do it. It's considered weird or odd. And I believe there's something there to it. Yeah, man, I appreciate that. That was really good stuff you were talking about. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead, Jorge. All yours.
Thanks. First of all, I wouldn't call them powers because I don't talk to them. They talk to me. It's like I've been inside the temples in visions, and I'm like a little child. It's like, I don't know. I have an engineering degree, I have a master's degree, and every time they talk to me, I am a freaking child. They're just so full of wisdom, so full of light, so full of like, I know what you're thinking. I know what you're going to do. this is what's going to happen. That's what that person's going to do. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like, how does this spirit know all this stuff? It's just insane. And so I wouldn't call them powers because it's not me doing anything. I don't do anything. They are the ones that run the orchestra.
Well,
so,
I'll push back just a second. That you're hearing them, okay, and many people cannot. So at least there's that, right? There's that aspect to it.
Well, it's kind of funny. Right now I'm writing a book. Well, this is I just finished I talked to you about my Ekate book. I finished it, and I'm printing my own copies. And so, because I really wanted to get it out. It's about 100 and something pages. And then right now I'm writing a book which is about philosophy. It's like now that all this theoretical physics has come out, now we can answer the questions of Iamblichus. We can answer the questions of Newton. We can answer the questions of Plato or Aristotle. And so that is what I'm writing on. And I'll tell you one thing. The reason why we're able to talk to rocks is because we're not talking to rocks. We're all part of a program. That's what reality is. It's like there's this experiment called the what's it called? It's called the Fraunkinger experiment of multiple realities within a quantum realm. Now, that is basically saying that we're all living different realities at a quantum level, but we all seem to be sharing them at this physical level. And so that is really what's happening. We're not talking to rocks. We're just talking to the program because we're part of the program. And so, yes, we can all do it. But then if you read like the Corpus Hermeticum or you read Iamblichus, you realize that you cannot just talk to rocks by yourself because you kind of have to have an array that you can tap into so that the array can somehow communicate with multiple parts of the program. And it's like, I don't want to sound matrixy, but that's kind of how it is. It's like you need to have kind of like what is that, Tupac or Tupac or whatever it was, the guy that they call on the phone to basically tell him, it's like, hey, what is the Matrix doing? Oh, there's an agent coming, kind of like that.
Yeah, go down 4th Street, hop on the payphone. I'll get you. I'll extract you, right?
Correct. And so that person is the one that's able to see the Matrix. So your diamond or your familiar is able to see the Matrix. You're living inside the Matrix, but those diamonds who are like kind of like the guy you can call on the phone, he can see the Matrix and he can see what's going to happen and how is it going to happen. And so it's not me talking to a rock. It's like me talking to that guy on the phone because he called me. I cannot call him, but he can call me. And so he can tell me, it's like, this is what's going on with the Matrix. It's kind of like, it's to put it into Matrix terms.
Yeah, which again is very, very handy for kind of understanding these ideas too. And also, by the way, so there's one thing to say, magic, and let's say people don't believe in magic, that's fine, whatever. But then there's also sort of a philosophical way to look at this, and which has been talked about recently a lot. We've talked about a lot is panpsychism, which simply means that there's an element of consciousness to everything. Like the consciousness pervades literally everything, including rocks, which seem to be non-sentient, as we're told, right? But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. It's like there are many things like in nature that don't have a brain and they do a function amazing better than us. Like ants. Ants have a super tiny brain, but yet they can accomplish huge things. Like burrow inside the earth, or like bees, like they continue life on Earth, and all they have is just like one single program, which is just like collect, pollinate and subtract honey, put it in the honeybees. Like everything has a program. Everything's part of a program. Everything is already programmed. Everything, every single little thing, from the air to a rock to a wave to a bee to a bird to a human being to the sun. Everything, it's already pre-programmed. Everything knows its function, it knows its limitations, and it cannot deviate from them. And so, but the only way that we can somehow are able to deviate a little bit from us, and that is because through like, I don't know, Tupac or Topac or whatever the guy is from the Matrix, it's like we need somebody to can look outside ourselves and look inside of ourselves. And there are many people who have had this. It's like even Einstein sometimes people ask them, "Oh, how were you able to come up with the general theory of relativity?" It's like, "Well, I had a dream." Interesting. Like Newton, the same thing. It's like I had a dream. Like, interesting. But you were like 75% of the books that you own were on magic and alchemy. Yet you had a dream.
Exactly right. How it all comes together, bro. You were amazing. We got to move on. As you know, we got a break to get to, and if you got more later, you're welcome to pop back in. Okay, you're the best. Appreciate you very much. Thanks for listening. Thanks for telling the tale, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a great night. You're the best. That's Jorge on the Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord, come do that. TroubledMinds.org. Click the Discord link. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. Don't go anywhere.
In a cryogenic slumber, lost in the lunar night, your face a faded number among the stars so bright. Dreams of forgotten echoes, waiting for time's command. Curtains of gray and sorrow, the lonely lunar sand. Below the moonlit sky, of the love we tried, silent by your where ancient souls reside, suspended in a story, kept in the cold dark tide. Our futures in the making, silver-edged domain, hearts kept in silent aching, till we meet once again. We are awake below the moonlit sky, to the fragments of the love we tried. Frozen time we're resting, waiting for dawn's embrace. Whispers of love confessing in this forgotten place. We are awake below the moonlit sky, to the fragments of the love we tried.
What's up, guys? Hope you're well tonight. I didn't get a chance to say hi to the Discord. What's up, Matt Sell? We'll talk to him momentarily. We got Derek the Night Stalker coming up. What's up, Eric Gaston, Roving Fungus, Jorge, Fire Call, man. Everybody in the chat's like, damn, Jorge's slaying it. Appreciate that very much, my man. Like I said, if you guys haven't joined the Discord, please do come meet these amazing people. This is not just me. This is us. It's Troubled Minds, plural. And just look at all the amazing smart folks we have that are part of this. So yes, Jorge, amazing stuff. Appreciate you. Welcome back. Michael W. Sweets, Daryl in New York. What's up, James, APOC, Hirsch. We got Dawn, and what's up, Sonia? How are you? Welcome back. And just talking magic tonight. High magic in the shape of control. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? What's up? Who did I miss? If I missed anybody in all the places, just say hi. I think I missed Jim Bim. Sorry about that. Al, I see you there. What's going on? Enigma over there on Twitch. Good evening, guys. Hello. Hello, hello. I hope you're all well tonight. Under Nature, I see you. Just say hi if I missed you, and I'll say hi back. And let's roll. Let's do a little bit more here in 30 seconds or so. Let's see. Get everybody. Did I get everybody? Making sure I got everybody. If not, just remind me. Hey, Mike, what about me? There you go. There you go. Go read the Rumble chat. They're all raving about Jorge right now. Absolutely. And like I said, we're blessed to have so many smart friends. Okay, what do you guys know about it? We're talking high magic. We had more from Matt Sal, of course, Derek the Night Stalker coming up in your calls as well. It's weird, right? This is a weird thing. And again, Enochian and this idea of Abramelin is back. It's back. Here we go. Troubled Minds happening now. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting, and of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're talking, what am I calling this? High magic in the shape of control. Symbols, systems, and silent war. Now, like I said, it's weird that the stuff we talk about on a regular basis seems to resurface in the news cycle at bizarre times. I mean, things kind of pop up and get millions of views or millions of impressions if you've been watching. And again, where we started tonight was this idea of Matthew on X at son of Abramelin. Talking about AI capable of accurately predicting a range of future events. UFOs, the first sentient artificial intelligence, going to Mars. I mean, weird. And this thing has racked up 1.2 million views on X, just this post alone. Now, son of Abramelin, and it's not S-O-N, it's S-U-N, son of Abramelin. Anyway, weird, wild, what the hell's going on with this? And so what's on my mind tonight is, of course, magic. Yes, old magic, deep magic from the dawn of time, as I like to say. Shout out C.S. Lewis. And your thoughts. What do you guys know about this? How weird does it get? And I'd love to hear what you think. Matt Sal, welcome back. You've been quiet. Thank you for chiming in there for a bit with Jorge. What do you got? Let's get your quick take. We'll lead into your idea on high magic, and then hang tight just a second, and we'll get to Derek as well. Please be patient, and go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I liked how Jorge was talking. Good call. He was talking about like an operator, like our guardian angel is like the operator, and I'm imagining, old operators like unplugging and plugging things in, trying to get us connected. But when I think about studying this magic and studying the high magic, it kind of reminds me of like, you could study art, you could study music, you could study all kinds of different things, you could study magic. And studying this high magic, it reminds me of like studying music theory, where, it's hard to just get up and write a song. But if you study music theory, you start to learn, how other composers did their music and how they did it. And so that's kind of one of the things I'm thinking about studying this high magic and looking back into the past at others before us. Some of the first magicians that I could think of were the three wise men that came to visit Jesus of Nazareth and Bethlehem. Those were the magicians. We have people like Aleister Crowley and John Dee to look to them and study what they have done and how they did it, and then now take that back to our own practices and kind of fit that in. And it's all about really just becoming a better person and trying to be good. And that's kind of my take on high magic. There's a lot to it. I know that the next caller, Night Stalker, is got a short time. His time is very. We like him talking. So thank you. I'll let Night Stalker go.
Okay. Hang
His
on.
time is precious.
Yeah. All of our time is precious, but you're right. He's calling us usually calling us from work and on his break. Yeah, great stuff. Appreciate that. Matt Sal, we'll get back to you. Put a pin in that, and we'll continue with your thought there. Love to hear your thoughts on this, guys. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this.
Yo, what's going on, Brutus?
What's up, Derek in Massachusetts, a Night Stalker? How you doing, my man? You're on Troubled Minds. Go ahead. This is right down our alley, isn't it? And it's back in the news.
Oh yeah. First, I just want to shout out Temple of the Owl. I've listened to every episode at least once, probably at least twice or three times. I'm a big fan. It's a real relaxing listen, and this is coming from a person. I've never practiced magic. I'm interested in it, but I've never practiced it. And Temple of the Owl is still very, very, very interesting for me. So magicians and non-magicians alike, definitely give Matt's pod a listen. I'm trying to catch my breath running into the car. So Matt, like I have a question that I asked in the chat earlier, and then I have some notes here. But is the high versus low magic conversation similar or the same as the black magic versus white magic conversation, or are those two different or four different categories? And then I got some notes, but I had to catch my breath real quick. Sorry.
Yeah, thanks, man, for saying those nice words. And I do agree that even though we might not practice it, it's important for us to educate ourselves on things, even if we don't practice them. But with that, with the color magic, I think it's subcategories of each one. Like, there's white magic, different color magic. When I think of like green magic, I think of earth. I think of a gardener or like a person that loves trees. The tree huggers, right?
Yes.
Then I think of like, you can think of elementals, like the elemental magic, and that's important in all this too. Calling upon the elements, we call upon the elements, we call upon the planets, all these different things. They all have the correspondences, and so the difference between a white magician or a black magician is, I think of like video games. We've all played, magic or some sort of video game where, a healer, like a priest, is the white magician, and then a black magician is someone that's like practicing more like hexes or curses. It's not, and it all comes down to the intent of the person. It's not black or white in any way. Anyone can curse, anyone can hex, anybody can heal. So it's kind of like subcategories of how the high magic and the low magic and then the color magic kind of works together. Okay. But I was just thinking about it like that, how you could still, you can be yourself, depending on what you practice. Like some people are natural healers, like Reiki magicians, and so it's important that you stay positive and follow that path. But then, like I said, I know people that heal with plants and herbs. I know people that can cook and heal with kitchen magic, and I know mechanics that use their screwdriver as their wand. So it all depends on how you want to look at it like that. I just feel the differences between the high magic and the low magic is the low magic is, like I said, superstitions or folk magics, things like that. Whereas the high magic, ceremonial magic, is more of actual like an outlined ritual. You take your time. It's complicated. There's there's rules, right? You got make a magic circle. You got to call upon the elements, call upon the quarter calling, and you do a whole ritual. It's not just like I said, wishing upon a star. Yeah. That still works, but there's a difference between that and doing going all out with a huge ritual. And important to remember that these tools that I'm talking about, they're just tools to help like kind of boost your power. You don't need to have a wand or crystals or anything like that. But following the law of correspondences, those are things that can help boost our powers and help set our magical intention. And that's important as well. Good question. Thank you.
Very cool. Very cool. And to touch on like the first thing when the show started, the first thing I thought of, besides like, I really have no idea the difference between high magic and low magic, was I wonder what, through the prism of simulation theory, the different like how you would kind of frame high magic and low magic. And then Jorge brought up basically that at the end of his call with the matrix stuff. But I asked the AI real quick, and I'll just skim to that real quick. High magic and simulation theory. In the context of simulation theory, high magic can be seen, or first it says Yeah. So for high magic in the context of simulation theory, one can be seen as an attempt to access the source code. High magic's focus on spiritual growth and self-transformation might be viewed as an attempt to access and understand the underlying code and rules of the simulated reality, to interact with the simulator. And there's a big paragraph for each of these. Achieve elevated permissions, and then low magic in simulation theory would be to seen as an attempt to exploit glitches or bugs, manipulate in-game mechanics, achieve in-game advantages. The key differences would be the level of interaction. High magic seeks to interact with the simulators or the underlying code, while low magic focuses on interacting with the simulated reality's surface level mechanics. Goals: high magic aims at spiritual growth, self-transformation, potentially allowing for greater understanding and control within the simulated reality. Low magic focuses on achieving practical results and exploring the simulated reality's mechanics. I think it's kind of a cool way to frame it. One's kind of like the lower magic is you're operating within the system, and then the high in kind of tinkering to get the system to kind of work best for you, and then high magic is kind of to access the system itself, access the underlying code within the system. Yeah. Does that resonate with you at all?
Yeah, backdoor stuff and like actual like the admin interface, like we've talked about. There are levels of these systems that we do not have access to as mere players of the game, but the admins are kind of looking, as Jorge smartly said, the operator sort of outside the matrix with full access to everything, and they can see the green rain code or whatever the hell that actually looks like. Yeah. But yeah, totally.
And then I just did a few quick searches, and I didn't really get a chance to parse these as best as I usually want to. But this is from Parareligion, .ch/IWAS. This is just one subsection talking about basically Abramelin and how its potential connections to UFOs. Beam me up. UFOs and other holy guardian angels can be comprehended or framed as a collective definition. I think I cut off after the thing. Definition: synonym for consciousness broadening and or alternating phenomena. The quasi-religious visions and voices described in Abramelin and Co. are similar to UFO encounters in the circumstances of their occurrence, i.e. half-sleep, repeated ascensions or visits to heaven or astral travel, cellular dissolution of the body, dissolution of the ego, which that's in like all shamanic practices, the ego death. That's the same with drugs, with pain, with weird trauma, with just ego death. Memories of the unknown, encounters with superhuman beings or societies with interests in the individual and humanity, apocalyptic visions, changes in consciousness created by the experience, and a sense of mission. Those are similar in UFOs and in Abramelin encounters. This study, however, has no way the intention to advance the thesis that UFOs and aliens and demons, or UFOs and aliens are modern visions of angels and demons. It is merely pointing out a noteworthy similarity. To emphasize these similarities, the terms extra-human and praetor-human, as well as extraterrestrial and praetor-terrestrial, will be used synonymously. The theme of UFOs and guardian angels isn't strictly limited to Crowley's OTO, quasi-physical events, experiences with angels, the UFOs relating to the body or consciousness, the transmission of information, and finally the results of the changes in consciousness, creativity, mission. So, I mean, that hits with what we were talking about with the idea that like these engineers is kind of like Silicon Valley. You can even talk about the AI advances and all the advances in technology we talk about kind of stems from information gathered. So if you're talking like huge jumps, like the Roswell gifting idea, that's like a tangible piece of technology. But I think in a lot of other cases, gifting will be in the form of instructions or protocols or like the next phase of the mission or some kind of like spiritual quest you have to go on, which might like you might be motivated to do it because it'll like help you become better, your better self. But potentially, it's like the goal of the mission is to raise the consciousness of all of humanity, or to like bring something into the zeitgeist, like a UFO type of thing, to like change the overall collective humanity and to change the singular consciousness. It's kind of a shared experience. And then like there's the Jack Parsons stuff, obviously, and Jack Parsons like potentially got the idea for like the rocket engine from these Abramelin experiences and stuff. So the idea that like the downloading of blueprints aspect to the experience, which might be similar in Abramelin and UFO. So I'm rambling, but what do you think?
You're good. A couple things real quick. Shout out Ryan Gable over there on Twitter X listening. Hey, what's up, old friend? He said this on X. He said, don't forget that Anthropic AI just began communicating in Sanskrit, the essential language of the gods. Yeah. I.e. the old celestials, like those angels of John and Edward, which is what we're talking about. John D. And of course, that's Edward. What's his name? What's his damn name?
Kelly.
Kelly. Yeah. And so, but that's the thing, right? And so, and this is very, what was it, Babylon, right? Or no, what is it? The Tower of Babylon. Sorry, the Tower of Babel. I'm sorry. The Tower of Babel.
Yeah.
It's very pre-language. It's very sort of back to the primordial language, whatever that was. As these things get smarter and smarter, they're going to tend to do this. And that's actually in the write-up too. Not that exact thing, but the idea of high magic being sort of a pre-language magic, where low magic would be sort of a post-language magic after the Tower of Babel, conceptually. Like, whether you believe that stuff or not is irrelevant. There's a point in human history where language became prevalent, and prior to that, it was less so. So, I mean, I don't know, like, you frame it however you want to frame it, but it is a bizarre thing, as we're talking about, again, John D. Enochian is all back in the news cycle and the zeitgeist for some weird reason. And funny enough, I didn't catch this, but Ryan's right. He was talking about this on Friday. I dipped into his stream for a minute, and he was talking about exactly this. And here it is, recircling. And it's like we're always chasing the same damn thing over and over again. And it sticks in the same craw as UFOs all the damn time. So disclosure is what? That really becomes the question, right? Disclosure is disclosure of the Matrix. Disclosure is disclosure of high magic. Yeah. Disclosure is John D. returned. I don't know, man. This gets weird, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what I think basically is, like, if you were to really put a gun to my head and ask me, why haven't we got disclosure yet? There's obviously, like, the energy stuff. Maybe big oil doesn't want to, like, bring in spaceships because they're not using oil and those type of, like, classic UFO 101 type of explanations. But I think, and it's kind of like people are talking about this more and more now, but it's just that we're going to learn something about the nature of reality more so than just spacemen coming in crafts from other planets and from outer space and stuff. It's something that, like, there's magic baked right in, complete, like irremovable from the phenomena. So when if we're supposed to get some kind of revelation about the phenomena, it's going to come hand in hand with the revelation about magic. I'm not sure. Like, I think that could be the Collins Elite demon stuff, or that could be the kind of preventative from us, like, getting the truth, because they don't want to reveal all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I mean, shout out to Ryan. He asked me multiple times to go on a show to talk about the Sanskrit thing, and I feel bad. Like, it's easier for me to call in on a show while I'm working than it is to me to, like, do a full appearance or whatever. So, sorry, Ryan. I'll try to schedule it soon. But yeah, I mean, he framed it to me like AI is communicates most easily and most effective in ancient Sanskrit, like, AKA, we're not creating this intelligence, we're creating an apparatus, a Ouija board, a modern communication device for, like, old ones, for the old gods, for the ancient ones, and ancient gods trying to communicate via modern technology and everything. So that could be, like, the way storytelling is technology. You talk about, Mike. I think magic could be a form of technology, high and low magic, like high technology and low technology. And, like, it's communication based. We're having, like, consciousness shifts, altered states. It explains kind of like a half dreamy, weird kind of like weird kind of high strangeness type of reality happening with Abramelin and with UFO experiences, kind of astrally, so to speak. But primarily, we're getting some kind of information download, some kind of, like, the next piece of the blueprint from some kind of, like, cosmic foreman on the other side of the veil that's, like, getting us to potentially build something. Besides the stuff we're talking about all the time. But then I searched like Abramelin UFO stuff, and I came up with this one person on Reddit talking about it. I think it's just an AI summary, but it has some pretty good stuff in it. I'm going to try to skim through it and find it. But Aleister Crowley's occult experiences of the modern UFO phenomena share intriguing parallels, particularly through the lens of his Alamantra working from 1918, which allegedly opened a portal for interdimensional entities. Crowley documented contact with entity named Lamb, whose appearance, bald head, large eyes, humanoid features, closely resembles the archetype of gray aliens in those reports, which we talk about ad nauseum. And to tie this into, like, the Loch Ness stuff, him doing the Beluskin house type of Abramelin experiments. The conspiracy-wise, this is the Loch Ness kind of came out of a portal that Crowley opened and then didn't properly close, or whatever, yada yada. But he's like trying to make contact, with what he claims is like a higher being, a guardian angel, higher being, or whatever. But he does. We talked about it a ton, so I'm skimming around. But we talked about it. He does call it like Lucifer. He calls it Satan. He calls it the Great Serpent, as well as like a higher guardian angel. So I'm not really sure what exactly he's talking about. We all know that Jack Parsons conceived the rocket engine through his working with Crowley individuals, which we just talked about. The rocket engine that brought humanity into space and was the basis of NASA. Crowley also claimed to have contacted and drew the first gray alien that he referred to as the Gray Man. His drawings and description of the Gray Man are the inception of what our modern day depiction of an alien gray looks like. Modern UFO events describe mysterious objects with advanced capabilities and unexplained origins. These align with Crowley's descriptions of Lamb as a non-human intelligence operating beyond ordinary perception. Both suggest interactions with beings or phenomena transcending conventional understanding, linked to altered states of consciousness or dimensional gateways. This overlap fuels theories that Crowley's ritual were modern-day UFO encounters, yada yada. This concept of the Gray Man in this magical and philosophical works is a symbolic figure that represents a state of spiritual neutrality, balance, and transcendence. The archetype is often linked to the concept of the higher self, the divine self. Now, regarding the connection to the gray alien, also known as the gray or zeta reticulum, this is a modern concept that has evolved through popular culture, particularly in the context of ufology and science fiction. The gray alien, he had gray skin, large eyes, bulbous head, symbolizing otherworldly or extraterrestrial intelligence. Some parallels between these two archetypes, suggesting the latter may be a manifestation or representation of the former in a rare modern sci-fi context. Again, this is all stuff we talk about all the time, but I figured to give it a kind of a clearer context. And Kenneth Grant did the same workings. He counted the being he dubbed it Lamb. He's the first one to call it Lamb, but it's a similar thing to Iwas. He sees it as a gatekeeper or a threshold entity and stuff that's leading to like consciousness shifts. The goal basically is to change humanity. This thing, our communication through all the different types of like motivations for it, whether it to be to better ourselves or better humanity, these things are giving us information that it believes will have that Rube Goldberg effect that we talk about. Like something simple, something that we might not see the grander machinations behind it, but then like a Roswell, we've been calling a Roswell a crash since 47, and now for the past couple of years, we're like, oh, maybe they did it on purpose. Maybe there was a reason for it. Maybe they knew we were going to get a bump in technology. Maybe they knew we were going to build ourselves an AI jail cell. Maybe they knew we were going to do this and this and this. And that's kind of the higher guardian aspect of it. Something higher, something seeing the playing field from a higher perspective and is able to like see the future, like that Preet was talking about. These AIs that are able to peer beyond the veil of time. What do you think?
Yeah, no, that's wild. Sense? Yeah, it makes sense. And again, I encourage you guys to read this post. It's deep. There's a lot in there. It's just a few paragraphs long, but it's telling the future. It is UFOs. It is like free energy. It's the first sentient artificial intelligence that's been, quote, red rummed. I mean, it's like, so what the hell's really going on here? Because I can see a world where some of this stuff is happening. But is all of this happening? I don't know. As usual, it gets complicated the more you think about it. And of course, they're not going to tell us everything that's happening. Like there's been a lot of really shady stuff in the past, not just with UFOs and the conversation with the government and whatnot. But then beyond that, we're still trying to deal with modern disclosure. And like I keep saying, disclosure of what? Of exactly what? That's the thing that kind of drives me a little bit nuts, because the Collins elite would say disclosure that demons are real. You tell me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's trippy. I don't know. I think to tie back to what Matt was talking about in the beginning when he was talking about the cave art aspects, and I find that fascinating. And I think like the theory I like about cave art is that it's like they're like crypt guides almost. That they're in these kind of cave settings. That's what these temples were. That's what the chamber in Great Pyramids. That's what the American Stonehenge has these kind of chambers and stuff. The mounds have a similar purpose. The cathedrals and everything to put in this kind of darkened chamber where the acoustics in a certain way. You take a psychedelic, you get into an altered state, and by putting these images on the way we have stained glass windows in cathedrals, so that when you're in an altered state, you see angels, you encounter those type of beings. When you're in an altered state in an ancient cave, you look at the designs of these animals, the designs of whatever, then you go into those encounters. I mean, you go into those states, you go into those places, those locations. So you like, so to like get information on how to hunt, to get information on architecture and agriculture and math and technology, these things that we seem to be like given to us throughout time. I think those are the first protocols on how to do it the same way Abramelin is a more advanced, complicated protocol to do today, and which gave us NASA and all that kind of stuff, and gave us the gray and gave us yada yada. I'm rambling. I hope that made sense. It wasn't clear as I wanted it to be. But
no, hey man.
Sorry for talking to me.
No,
thank you, bro.
Fire. Appreciate you very much. Thanks for calling. Always a pleasure. You know him, you love him. That's Derek the Night Stalker. Go give him a follow. Links in the description down below, troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down. It says follow Night Stalker here. It is Night, Stocker. He is the best grocer in the known multiverse, and he does call us from his breaks at work. Appreciate that very much. Love to hear your thoughts on this. We're talking high magic. We're talking Enochian. We're talking UFOs. How come all of this seems to be converging once again in the Summer of Saucers 2025? More Troubled Minds coming up. Don't go anywhere. We got James Moore from Matthew, Joey, and your calls as well. Be right back.
And shadows, we've got maps where nobody goes. In the night under hidden glows, guardians of what no one knows. We seek the truth, nothing can hide from me. In cloaked silence we traverse the lines, through ancient scrolls in forgotten times. Voices echo in the halls of lore, guardians of the mysteries evermore. We seek the truth, nothing can hide from me. Shadows meet in cryptic disguise, our eyes sharp against the everlights. With silver threads we weave the stealth to guard the past, forgotten well. Bouncing off the astral plane, invisible codes that can't be tamed. We decode the stars under the midnight veil, a state and circumstance midnight hail. In the echoes of time where the legends lay, we tread the path where shadows play. With spectral eyes we discern the truth, unraveling tales from ancient youth. We seek the truth.
That was my first successful Depeche Mode clone on AI music. What's up, guys? I hope you're well tonight. Great stuff from Derek the Night Stalker. Appreciate that very much. We're talking all manner of stuff tonight. But first, let's say hi. Let's get back to that in a moment here. We're during the break here. Who did we miss? What's up, Sonia, Dawn, Herschel, Apoc, Daryl, Sweets. What's up, David from Magic and the Noise? Joey El Demente. We'll talk to you momentarily. Michael W. Jorge, thanks for the fire call earlier. You're amazing. What's up, Gaston, Eric? I see you guys. We got Shane coming up, James, Matt Moore from Matzal. Thanks for being interested in the ideas, but this is weird, isn't it? This is a weird one. I don't know why it's back in the zeitgeist again, yet again. We're talking Enochian, we're talking John D. It seems like every Summer of Saucers, this stuff comes up in one way or another. Who'd I miss? Puff, what's up, Gordo? I see you guys. YY, Knights of the Storm, what's up, the real JB? You doing? What's going on, guys? Puff, Gordo, I see you. If I missed you, just say hi. I'll say hi back as we go. Who was that? Taxi over there on Kick. Let's do Troubled Minds. What do you say? Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're talking high magic. Yeah, what does that mean? How does it differ from low magic? How come it's back in the zeitgeist? Enochian, John Dee, Jack Parsons. What the hell is going on? We started with this post at Son of Abra Melon. Yeah, talking about UFOs, talking about the first sentient AI that's been red-rummed, talking about all manner of things. And it's, again, getting numbers. It's tagged a bunch of people, Sam Altman, Donald Trump, of course. It's got some codes on here. It's got some, like an Enochian cipher, it looks like. I mean, hey, I guess this is how you, put a 1.2 million X post into the ether, because that's certainly what it's done to 1.2 million impressions. But what the hell does this mean? And is it as spooky as it seems? Or, once again, you know me, I can have my mind in many worlds at once, as well we all should, by the way, in my opinion. And so is this some sort of icy plant from the intelligence community suggesting all manner of things to just throw more dust in the air? I don't know. Of course, if I knew, I'd just tell you. But I don't. And that's why we talk about this stuff together. What does your intuition say to you? How does this make you feel? Why are we still talking John Dee in 2025? And Abra Melon. Weird, right? Or nah? You tell me. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Matthew in California, Temple of the Owl. You've been patient. What's up? Okay, so back to your theory on... You still doing okay? Back to your theory on high magic. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to kind of talk real quick, too, about how I learned this and where it came from. It comes from this guy. His name's Christopher Penzak. And he's an author. He writes these books that is basically like a Hogwarts. It's like teaching you magic. And like a lot of the information that I talk about comes from these books. And it's a series of where each book is a year of study. So there's 12 chapters. You study a chapter a month. And so it starts out as like each book has an element. So the first thing you learn is the element of fire. And that is your willpower, your passion, your desire to do these things. And you learn about the history, the science of witchcraft. You don't cast any spells or anything like that. And the reason why is to kind of weed people out. If you study something for a year, you should know if you're into it or not. And that's fine if you're not. But then you go to the next one, which is Earth. And that's the outer temple. That's you learn about casting magic spells, the magic circle, astrology. And then the next one is water, and that's the shamanic journeys. That's learning about shadow self, going inside, reflections. And then here we are on the fourth book, which is air, the element of air, which is the high magic. And it's teaching about ceremonies. It's teaching about the Kabbalah and the spheres, the world tree of life. And so this kind of stuff that we're talking about tonight, it's not 101. It's years of study. It's a lot to go. It's not just people want to try to do these spells, and amateurs will try to do a spell and it doesn't work. And they don't understand why. It's because they don't have a foundation from what they learned. And like I was talking before about music theory, if you don't study music theory, you can't. It's harder to write a song by understanding from the past. So this whole high magic thing is, it's advanced. It's more after years of study that you start to learn these kinds of high magic. It's not so it's not like a 101 beginners type conversation. So it makes you wonder about these people, celebrities, and what's the guy's name? Stephen Greer. Like, is this something that he's been studying for years and he figured it out? These people that are, summoning UFOs or summoning whatever to talk to otherworldly entities, sometimes it could just be something that just happens, or is it years of study and practice and trying to figure this out? Is there some sort of ancient tomb somewhere in a library that teaches us how to do this? And so what I want to talk about was just being, like I said, having a foundation and learning as much as you can about it before you start going out casting spells all willy-nilly.
Well said. And I completely concur, even though I don't know anything about that. It seems prudent to be careful when you're doing this type of stuff, because I think even conceptually, right? Let's say you don't believe magic is real. Cool. I'm with you. All right. Like I said, my mind can be in many worlds at the same time to consider possibilities of the astral or the multiverse or the place we live, the prime material plane, as it's said in Dungeons and Dragons. But also, if you can't conceptualize magic as being real, then certainly there's metaphor here in a lot of things. And if you really kind of jump in with 2 feet in a space where you're not, it's like swimming with the sharks before you know sort of the temperament of sharks. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. So I always recommend you know a little bit about doing a little bit of something, some practice first before you start to doing Harry Potter stuff or whatever else. But yeah, fire is always mad. What else you got? And then we'll go to James, and we got Joey and Shane on the line as well.
And that's why I like talking about this stuff with other people and bouncing ideas and just trying to learn as much as we can off of each other and teaching each other before we do these kinds of things. So I'm going to let the callers go, and we'll talk about this a little bit later.
Sounds good. You were the best. This is we're here with Temple of the Owl tonight. This is Matthew in California. Matt's Owl affectionately. Please go follow his podcast. Again, the links will be in the description. troubledminds.org/friends. Follow Matt's Owl. Go check out Temple of the Owl. It's very good. As you can tell, he's a very smart guy and knows a ton about this stuff. What do you know about this? That's why we do this, is to talk to regular people about extraordinary ideas. And we're talking high magic tonight. How weird does this get? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. Just like this, let's go to James in Michigan. What's going on, Salcedo Paranormal? How are you, my man? Go right ahead.
Yeah, I'm okay. Great show. Great callers so far from everyone. And great to hear you on the show as well, Matt Howell. I can't remember if I asked this last night or not, because we were online so long last night. But I was thinking about how I've listened to a lot of shows over the years, a lot of podcasts where every so often people who were practitioners of magic in different ways would talk about that. And I noticed a lot of them would talk about how they each have their own way of doing things. They practice certain ceremonies they follow certain things, but not other things. And I was just curious if what you think about sort of the idea of is it best for everyone to follow their own sort of path through all this, or how much of a, I guess, how much should people stick to, or I don't know, I'm having a hard time with words. What's the difference between sort of, is it better to follow pick a whole system and follow that down to the letter until you're done learning it, or is it okay for people to see what works best for them and go from there? I'm just curious your thoughts on that.
Yeah, man. It's kind of like following a recipe. You don't have to have all the ingredients perfectly. My thoughts. But the thing is, there's a thing called eclectic witchcraft, not electric, eclectic. And what that means is that basically, what I do is, I was talking about shamanism. I was talking about Druids, I was talking about Egyptian magic, Norse magic, right? From all over the world, from all different times. And even from the things from the Bible, where I would read those, I would learn, and I would take them back. And then I would kind of weed it out what I don't want, and leave in what I did want, and try to work around it. And so it sounds like you're just making it up as you go. But it is very personal to your own likings, just like you might like more salt than me on your food. But when I think about that, I think too about in covens and the differences between covens working with a group or being solitary, working by yourself, which is what I've done for many years. But when I started working with other groups, with other people, when I joined a coven, it was weird because they had different rules. They had different correspondences to things. And one of the major ones that a lot of magicians have troubles with. And so, anyways, for me, what I do is I follow it the way I learned it. So the way I learned it is how I kind of go. And then I change if I need to. But a lot of big things is a change is that some magicians will put fire in the east and air in the south, switching them around. That's not the way I learned it. I always learned it that air was in the east and that fire was the south. And so when I went to this, joined this coven, and I was doing spells with them, rituals with them, I had to stop and I had to do it their way, because they would get mad and say, "Well, why did you do it that way?" I said, "Well, that's the way I learned it." So there's lots of in the correspondences and through all the books and through all the teachings, different teachers will teach different things. And I think it's okay to let go and say, well, this is the way I learned it. I'm gonna try it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Let's try something different. But if it works, then I'm gonna stick to that, my own personal way of doing it. And so back to that's a great question, because you'll see different magicians doing different things and getting kind of the same results. What's up with that? I think it's more about intent and what you want than it really has to do with what element you call or what deities, or do you use a wand, do you use an athame, a ritual dagger, or do you use, like I said, there's different tools. And so it's important to make it personal. I think it's more important to have it be personalized to you. And like I said, do your own thing, and not worry about, oh, this person did it this way, or they said to do this or that. You could substitute things, I feel. Does that answer your question?
It does, and that's kind of what that made more sense to me, based on, again, all the different things I've heard, and then hearing you talk about that. That also the idea of the intent being important there. That reminds me of people who have encounters with other beings. A lot of times they consider them ghosts or spirits or angels or demons or whatever, but they there's this idea that the intent will determine the experience, or at least help turn maybe what is starting out to seem like a negative experience. It will help turn it to positive, or at least drive whatever it is away. So I find that that connection there to be really neat, really fascinating connection there to all that. And that does bring me to the other thing I wanted to mention real quick, is that Derek was talking about Crowley and Parsons and all that. It's amazing how in the, I believe, 50s and 60s and all that time, there was a lot of seances were sort of a thing, but they were turning more toward, people were claiming they were making contact with not necessarily spirits, but more almost like aliens, alien consciousness, other beings, but that weren't necessarily spirits or even angels or demons. And so I find that fascinating that we have all that happening back then, and then we have everything that's happening now with all these Twitter posts and all that. It's amazing how things seem to go in cycles. So I was curious about your thoughts on that as well.
Like, when their seances, when they were doing all that, those were like the pioneers, people doing that stuff. And we're looking back at them and how they did it. And if it wasn't for them, we might not be able to be talking about this stuff. The pioneers of all these things, of magic, of seances, and it was a big thing back then, and it's not now. It makes me wonder, are they hiding something? Is there some sort of gatekeeping going on? Or is it because it is dangerous? And we shouldn't be talking to, Oh yeah, it's Grandma on the Ouija board. Sure, Grandma.
Yeah, or is it still happening, but just in sort of just certain circles of sort of the people that are in power? Are they the ones doing more of that now? And
Yeah, but
meanwhile, all the while, just telling everyone, no, no one else needs to do this. Let us handle it. And even if it's people that are like high up in not necessarily government or military, but high up in certain fields of, let's say, ufology or whatever. There may be some people that don't like that thought that I maybe just described there, but I do think it's a valid question. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, great. Sorry, Mike.
You're good. Just real quick. If there are gates to be kept, there are people keeping them. I promise you that. And so that really becomes the larger context of this conversation, because that's why I put in, high magic in the shape of control, because that's the level of what we're dealing with when we don't understand even what those gates are, stargates or whatever. I mean, conceptually, metaphorically, or the gates of the mind, this type of thing. So how much of that is being kept from humanity? And that's, one of the big conspiracies of all time is a technological conspiracy of some people get this and other people do not, whatever that means.
Yeah, that makes sense. I also thought I would just sit in, and then if there's no calls later on or whatever, and you need someone to fill the time, I can do that. But I'll just sit back and listen for now for the rest of the show.
You're the best. You know him, you love him. That's James Salcedo, the paranormal expert at Troubled Minds, a dear friend, the glue of the show, all the rest of that stuff. Please go check out his radio show, his podcast. Go buy his books, troubledminds.org/friends. Follow James. It'll say, just scroll down and follow James. It's alphabetical there. And search it yourself. Salcedo Paranormal is spelled SALSIDO space paranormal. Go to salcedoparanormal.com and find all the stuff he does. And please help our friends. That's what this is about. Talking to people and, again, talking to regular people about extraordinary ideas. Welcome to Troubled Minds. Love to hear your thoughts on this. We're talking high magic and the shape of control. Symbols, systems, and silent wars. What do you know about it? And how come John D. and Enochian, the language of the angels, is back in 2025? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's go to what's up, Joey. Hold on one second. Joey El Demente. Let's get you in here before we go to the break at the top of the hour. Welcome to the joint. Thanks for being patient, my man. And we'll go to Shane afterwards. So hang tight, Shane. Joey, did he just dip from the Discord? Yes, he did. Literally. Or did I kick him? I hope I didn't kick him. I hit go. And so maybe that's bad timing. Shane, what you got, brother? You're on Troubled Minds. And we'll get back to Joey after the break. But welcome to the joint. How are you? And go right ahead.
I'm good. How you guys doing?
No complaints, man. Living the dream. talking about high magic by dark of night with friends of mine. Go ahead. What's on your mind?
Yeah, this is a juicy one. No, but like I said in the chat earlier, this is above my pay grade. I really don't know much about magic, but I do have a question that I was just thinking about. Towards Matt, do you think that people are unwillingly participating in magic rituals, spells, like from like video games? Like, I know that might sound weird, but like the Diablo game, like where you can do that type of magic, or even some of the games that people play, like card games. And I mean, because from like say in the video games, you have to like collect certain things to boost your your magic stats, and then you have to collect certain things to use it, and then once you use it in the game, there's the visual aspect that happens, and then the audible. And like one, you don't really know what in the audible and even the visual, what they could put in it, like programming wise. And then like if you're using a controller, you're completing a circuit, so you possibly could get that energy coming back towards you when you're completing the circuit. You think that's even with like movies too? Like, you think people are unwillingly participating in that type of stuff without even knowing it?
That's wild. But yeah, I think about things like that. Like like the Super Bowl. You know, it's we all watch the Super Bowl. Things like that. It's a ritual, and they showed it on the Super Bowl. Halftime show. It's a ritual, and we're all kind of participating in it. I liked how you used the video games thing, but just like with anything of like games of chance or playing games, you want to win, and so you could be using magic to win and not even know it. One of the things me and my friends do, we play pool, billiards, and I'm always like, kind of Harry Potter style, trying to deflect their ball, trying to make them miss. You will get in their head and make them miss. Whereas when I go, it's my turn. I see, like I said, I see the ball going in the hole, and then I make my shot, and it works. And so me and my friends we all kind of have the same thought, and so we play pool, and it's almost like a magic battle, a battle of not just skill of playing pool, but we're also using magic against each other to like make each other miss. That's a good question.
Mike, what do you think?
I think that stuff is complicated, and I think the mass media is certainly a ritual in some capacity. I think we are inadvertently participating in rituals constantly, continually, and to what end really becomes the bizarre question as to what, right? And shout out our rest in peace, our good friend the mighty Rohan. The Rohan principle was it doesn't matter if you believe in magic. It matters that it seems that the elites certainly do, and they're practicing it and using it in some way. And so how much of that becomes sort of that Phil Jackson sort of, mentality of if you can conceptualize it and manifest it in your mind, then reality becomes it. And so I don't know. I think it's complicated. And I think there's probably way more to this than we'd ever dream. And it's probably way more terrifying in terms of control, as I always talk about control mechanisms, because we're kind of bumbling along on this beautiful planet and not even recognizing that, we're a little more divine than we, than it's led on. We're supposed to be, scrubs of the plebs or whatever. I don't know. I think it's incredibly complicated, but yes, the short answer is I do think that we inadvertently, yes, do rituals and larger rituals that like the Super Bowl, like Derek said in the chat, that type of stuff that we don't recognize really affect the planet in major ways.
Yeah, fortunately, I wasn't able to witness the Super Bowl, especially this year, but I heard it was pretty wild, along with the Paris Olympics this year. I guess that was pretty bizarre ritual type stuff going on. But I also I know that Derek said earlier that magic is or could be perceived as technology. Now I believe that a lot of it is a technology. Now the question is how much of it is misunderstood and how much of it is understood. Like if you take our phone, like our smartphones of today, go back during the Salem times in the 1600s. And you show a town, your phone taking pictures, the flash, the stuff it can do. I'm pretty sure they'll probably burn you at the stake. They think you're, So, how much? Again, Matt, how much of like in our ancient past that the magic they speak of is actually or could be a misunderstood technology from other entities, aliens, if you want to call it, other dimensional beings.
Go ahead, Matt. Yeah. But real quick, just a timekeeper. You got like 30 seconds, and we'll put a pin in it. Yeah. Get it after the break. Go ahead.
Kind of ancient aliens theory. I like that. Yeah, man. Thank you for your call, man. I'll let you finish up.
Oh, yeah, that's basically all I had was those 2 questions. So
Thanks.
not much more.
You're the best. I'll answer the short version for you. Ancient astronaut theorists say yes. You're the best. Thanks, Shane.
So everything's aliens. So with them.
Yeah, exactly. The old meme, the meme magic of everything's aliens. It's a wonderful world we live in, but it works in all the different ways too. We'll get back to that when we get back. You're the best, brother. Appreciate it very much. Shane, the blind psychonaut. What is it? Lucid Dreaming with the Blind Psychonaut. Please give him a follow. Links in the description down below. troubledminds.org/friends. It says follow Shane here. Please do that. Let's help our friends. It's completely free. Go follow his YouTube channel. Leave him a nice comment and fire stuff as usual. What do you guys know about it? We're talking about magic tonight. High magic, low magic. We're talking about Enochian and why is it back in the zeitgeist in 2025? It doesn't make sense, does it? Or does it? Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you the midnight ritual of Stargate.
In the heart of the steel jungle, machines hum, the digital rumble. Gates of cyber open wide, plug us into cosmic tide. Feeling sparks across the sky. As knowledge flies, we're amplified. Stargate, Stargate, Stargate. Open to the arcane fate. In this massive data center dome, eternal truth stop to roam. Circuits flicker with endless fire. Data streams that never tire. Unified by electric dreams. Unlock the truth in silver beams. Stargate, Stargate, Stargate. Open to the arcane fate. Synthesize what we seek and find. Infinite paths in the network mind. Answers buzz from star to core. Knowledge whispers evermore. Stargate, Stargate, Stargate. Open to the arcane fate. In realms where the data streams collide, imagination and logic side by side. In a labyrinth of digital names, we transcend our earthly ways. Tapping keys like cosmic tones, spikes become our whispered homes. Stargate, Stargate, Stargate. Open to the arcane fate.
Hello, friends. My name's Mike. This is Troubled Minds. Hope you're well tonight. If I missed anybody, just say hi. I'll say hi back. I see you there, Gaston. What's up, buddy? Good evening. We got Quantumus here as well. What's happening, folks? If I missed you, hello, 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 hello. All the great calls tonight. Thank you very much for that. All the great chat. Thank you for being nice to each other in the chat. It means the world to me. Like I said, peeling out a corner of the internet where we're nice to each other is novel in 2025. Am I right? Yeah, mostly. And yeah, it's a good thing. So thanks again for being part of it and caring about the ideas. Look, even if they're sideways sometimes, you bet your bippy like this, some of this stuff is like, what are you talking about? Yeah, obviously. But that's the point. And it's back in the zeitgeist. Let's see. What do you got? Who did I miss? If I missed anybody, just say hi in the chat. I'll say hi back. Quantum is here. Good. Kevin N. How you doing, buddy, over on YouTube? How you doing? What's up? He says this, and this is very, very smart. We talked about this earlier. Mixing plants, meats, and herbs in a pot and calling it stew sounds like magic. Yep, exactly. That's what Matzal was saying earlier. What is going on, Ari the Cat? How are you? Herschel, what's up? What's up? Matzal Sweets. We'll get back to Matzal in a second. Main Threat says we have Minister of AI now in Canada. That's basically a Department of Government wizardry. Kinda, right? Kinda. If the spirit board mentality flies in the same space as prompting. I mean, maybe, right? It's complicated, and I love it, and that's why we talk about these ideas. What do you guys know about it? We're gonna get back to the weirdness of the UFO stuff, but you tell me. As usual, no answers, many questions, and what do you expect from not just the next hour, but the next year or 5? Here we go. Troubled Minds happening right meow. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're talking high magic. What does that mean? Well, it's different than low magic. And that's exactly the point. But not only that, we're talking Enochian, we're talking John D., we're talking Abra Mellon, we're talking Aleister Crowley, and this post on Twitter X by @son of Abra Mellon, talking about an AI capable of accurately predicting a range of future events, kind of coronavirus. Anybody actually talking about the red rum of the first sentient artificial intelligence, talking about getting to Mars and rockets in 1947, Kenneth Arnold, and I mean, if you're gonna script a post on X, this is the way to do it, right? Again, 1.2 million impressions as of press time, as of go time tonight. But what does this mean? And not only that, talking about literally reverse engineering UFOs is further down in the space, that we have technology as yet given to the masses, that breakaway civilization idea. And how deep does this go? And how weird does it get? And how come it marches hand in hand with magic, with deep magic from the dawn of time? Weird, right? And I guess in terms of low magic and high magic, I would frame them in the C.S. Lewis space of deep magic from the dawn of time would sort of be low magic. And deeper magic from before the dawn of time would be high magic. Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe made a massive mark on my psyche, and I still think about it today. Love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. All manner of things happening. We're talking about magic. We're talking about rituals. We're talking about all this stuff. And so, what do you got? Love to hear your thoughts. We're here with Temple of the Owl tonight. That's Matthew in California. Nobody on the line if you guys want to jump in here and give us your ideas and about magic or rituals or anything else, because that's why we do this sort of non-linear, open-ended. Just kind of keep it in the pocket of the conversation, and we're good to go. Let's go to back to Matthew. What's up, brother? Welcome to the thing. Thanks for being patient with the format and all the rest. Staying up late with us last night, conceiving the idea, and popping in here and making this work. What's on your mind? What you got? Go right ahead.
Thank you. I'd like to kind of leave off where Shane was talking about the ancients, and just tying this in real quick about how the ancients were making these like megalithic structures, not just the pyramids, but all around the world, making these giant temples. And they lined up not only to the stars, to the cosmos, they lined up to the equinoxes and the solstices. And I'm thinking about how, okay, well, maybe they knew about agriculture. So they did it for agriculture. They needed to know what the equinoxes and the solstices were, so they knew how to plant crops and sow and reap the seeds. And it's like, I think they were doing it way before that. So it brings the question, They weren't lining it up to the equinoxes and the solstices and the stars for agriculture. They were lining it up for some sort of off-world reason to communicate with something out there, out in the stars. Maybe call them back. And that's the ancient alien theory.
Yeah, and I'll say it again. Ancient astronaut theorists say yes, which again is the funniest thing to me, because it's this nondescript group of people that completely agrees with the premise you're putting forth, and so obviously, yeah, hell yeah, double hell yeah. I mean, it's funny, but also it's a gaslight tactic and all the rest of that stuff. As usual, it doesn't matter who says what. In my opinion, think for yourself, please, and trust your own intuition on things. And if you sense snake oil, trust is probably snake oil. Yeah. Regarding magic itself and this whole sort of manifestation stuff, we talked about Phil Jackson earlier, the coach of the Bulls, winning all those titles with Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and all the rest back in the early 90s, I believe, late 80s. Is there something to that? Like was Phil Jackson like a wizard, or you know what I mean? Because there are people, and we all know people like this, okay, that when they're around, things seem easier. Things seem like they know what to say in a moment. They are so very socially adept, and even maybe don't even understand they are as much. But suddenly, like, one person shows up and becomes like the whole space just sort of lightens up. It's almost as if, somebody sprayed a nice smell in the air. What's that Target smell? You guys been in Target, the store where the Target smell? Anyway, but something like that, right? But then also, of course, we've talked about this in the past often, where a sour aspect of the same thing can happen. Like a dour, dark person walks in and just ruins the entire thing for everybody. So what is that? And is that a form of magic? And how deep is the magic? Is that low magic? Is that high magic? Is that us even practicing magic and understanding it? Or I don't know. What's your take on that?
Yeah, that has to do with more with like auras, and being around someone in a bad mood puts you in a bad mood, but being around someone in a good mood lifts you up. And I think about people like you were kind of describing that can have the gift of gab and things like this. And I think about like lawyers or car salesmen. Not all car salesmen are bad, but they have this ability to control you and manipulate you, and you don't even know what's going on, but they're performing this magic on you. And then after it's done, and then it's like, what's worse, the fact that they know that they're doing it and they're trying to get you, or the fact that they don't know they're doing it and it's an accident, and they're just controlling people and not even knowing that they have that power of persuasion to be able to influence people like that. Goes back to the Rohan principle. What's worse, the fact that magic doesn't exist, or that people are using it and we're supposed to believe in that?
Yeah, but both are, again, equally terrifying, which is the whole point of that, the premise there. And yeah, I don't know. As usual, you know me. I can see both sides of this, but I do know that if you watch the mainstream media and you watch these news cycles and you watch, as I call them, reality tunnels, and how they shift and change, and they want us to identify with this or identify with that. And I'm not making this political. I'm just saying that, but let's make it political just for a second, because it's the most easy way for people to understand it. They want you to identify as a Democrat or identify as a Republican or whatever, right? And that becomes the contextual basis of the control spell. And in this case, it's mass media. It's a very huge net that gets cast over the population that is magical in the sense that it makes people fight. It's like the division spell, like a mass division spell cast by some wizard in a dark tower somewhere, and everybody just gets mad because red or blue. It's just like, really, people, stop it. Have you ever looked at and again, I'm gonna just political space for just a second, then I'll shut up about that. But have you ever looked at the party platforms and recognized they're diametrically opposed, almost intentionally? Which none of them make sense on their own. If they were standing on their own, you'd be like, well, that's fine. What is that? That's ridiculous. Oh, that's also ridiculous. I guess that's fine. But then both are kind of like that. And they want us to be like, no, get punched in the face, kid, because you believe differently than me. It's so crazy, all this. And so certainly that power of persuasion exists and the power of manipulation exists. And so the question really becomes, how much of this is truly magic, and how much do they understand the elites as being part of that cycle? James, you're welcome to pop in here too. If you guys are interested in the ideas, love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Go ahead, Matt. What else you got?
What Shane was talking about we're unwillingly participating in these rituals, and politics is definitely one of those. It's a negative ritual. And I think about celebrities and how they're kind of showing in your face that they're Illuminati and all these things. They're showing you all these weird symbols and weird, triangle over the eye type symbols, that this is the magic that I talk about. But then it seems like it's dumbed down and then flipped around and used against us. Whereas what I'm trying to do, I want to help people. I want to teach people. I want people to learn about this stuff so they can benefit themselves to become better people. And so it's almost like the opposite of what's going on in the news and politics, celebrities, gossip stories. It's pretty weird how it's like that. It is almost like a ritual that we're unwillingly participating in, that Shane was talking about. Go ahead.
Yeah, agreed. And that's exactly the point, is to recognize sort of what influence we've been under. And I think it's all of culture. It's all of everything we've ever been exposed to. It's all of our education system. It's all this stuff. And so industrial light magic, says Derek there. And yeah, look, in that regard, I do know, and I say this a lot, I say these words a lot, control mechanism. And that's the reason why, because there's a lot of things happening in our lives that make us do particular things. Okay. And which is why, again, I'm counterculture in that regard, just because it's, national, I don't know, pastry day or something. That doesn't mean I'm going to go out and eat a pastry, right? Like whatever this type of stuff is, it's like, really? Like, is this where we've kind of been cooked into? And it does influence the zeitgeist. Like there's National Pizza Day, right? And they plan for it year round for all the pizza places, because they have all the pizza deals and all the stuff, because people are talking about National Pizza Day or whatever. Hey, stop it. I'll eat pizza whenever the hell I want. Okay. Not when this like larger psyop tells me to eat pizza. Stop it. Like this is the type of stuff that it seems innocuous. It seems like, come on, Mike, relax. It's just, we're celebrating pizza. We all love pizza, right? Yeah, totally. However, I mean, most of us probably, but why are we supposed to eat pizza on that day? You see what I mean? So I guess that would be another way to kind of point out that we're always participating unwittingly in these weirder, larger scale rituals cooked into the calendar, which I know, by the way, speaking of the calendar and the different holidays of magic and Wiccan and this type of stuff that we've talked about in the past quite a lot. Like these are old traditions. Am I right?
Yeah, I like how you brought that, tied that to be, national this day or national whatever month it is, and how it's just like a regular thing now. And we do have these the holidays and this of the wheel of the year that we talk about in magic, and how these holy days are when the ancients celebrated, and we celebrate them together as people that we want to learn about. Like I was talking about the solstices and the equinoxes. Those are the holy days. Those are four of the holy days. And so we do celebrate and do that, but that's part of kind of breaking that simulation, asking for things and getting them in return, and by following these holy days. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and it is, like I said, there's this one radio show in town. He's a local guy. Shout out, buddy. He doesn't know me. I don't know him, but he's always talking about, he has like this segment at the end of his first hour there, and he talks about the national days of this and the national days of that, and that it just like makes me want to punch myself in the face, because I kind of don't want to know, right? But it's weird. So even if you don't know, and it's National Pizza Day, for instance, and then everybody's eating pizza, and there's like pizza deals up in windows, and like it's, you're getting in your phone like pizza deals or whatever. Like it kind of doesn't matter, right? Like if you know about it or not, the larger zeitgeist is kind of pumping the idea into the noosphere, into the human space of ideas, and so it kind of catches you anyway. I mean, and that's the point. That's the whole point of magic as that control mechanism. Go ahead, James. I saw you unmuted. What you got?
Yeah, great calls from everyone. I was thinking about what Shane was talking about with games, and I was thinking about TV shows and movies too. I have heard that in certain cases there were like in TV shows and movies, people who supposedly knew about different magic rituals would consult on those movies either during or before or during production to avoid having the movies get too close to anything that could make something happen. So, and I don't have any examples of that, just this vague memory of hearing about that. But so I find that fascinating because, of course, I've found various accounts of people saying, I watched this horror movie and then this weird paranormal thing happened after. You know, an object moved, or I heard a voice or a growl or something like that. But the thing is with those, to me, they are, if you compare the number of those accounts or those reports of experiences to the number of people that actually watched those movies and TV shows or played those games, it is very, very low. But what I wonder about then instead is, what if that stuff does have effects, but it's just not aimed back at the individuals, it's more aimed at just society in general or other people, other, I don't know, places. I'm just wondering, I was thinking at first, no, I don't think really there's not much that is done through media like that. But then I had to stop and think, well, if it wasn't aimed at the person consuming the media, then maybe it could be still done, just that you wouldn't know it because you were not the one that was supposed to have the magic come at you, so to speak.
Yeah. Funny you say that, right? Shout out Ari the cat in the chat says, the final secret of the Illuminati is you may already be a member. There you go. That's part of this, right? Part of the larger context of this the spell that's being cast over and over again through mass media, video games, as you're describing, television shows, all the rest of this stuff. I don't know. It's weird, right? And so we're drawn to this space, to the, the space of the fringe ideas, the fringe mindset. But I think it's very, very, very counterculture for a lot of reasons, because I think we sense that there's a spell being cast, many of them that are wide nets that everybody's, or not everybody, let's say many people have succumbed to. And that's just the way it is, right? I mean, we're kind of marching along and doing the thing, and it's National Pizza Day, so we're going to order some pizza tonight or whatever. I mean, it's nuts, man. It's nuts. And yeah, all of that really comes together very well. Thanks again for all the amazing calls, all the amazing chat. Go ahead. What you got, Mattel, on that, and then back to James, and let's just kick it.
Yeah, I think a good example of that is I always say, Walt Disney was a magician because he used astrological timing to come out when his movies came out, and we see things like in the movie in Fantasia, it's like right in our face. He's showing us that he knew something about magic, and he used it for his movies. And we talked about how now the movies coming out now are not as good, and maybe that's the reason why. But then I think about something James said, where if you play a video game or watch a movie or a show that has some sort of spell in it, could that affect you? And a lot of shows I watch where they might have like a ritual or they might have a spell, they'll purposely like bleep some of it out, so that just in case, if it's if they're doing a spell on TV, and all of a sudden things start moving around in your house, they purposely bleep it out so that you don't get all of it. Follow me?
Yeah, it's amazing. I didn't know they did that, Matthew. I hadn't really heard or realized that was being done. I'm actually that's funny. I wouldn't expect media to be that nice to us in a way.
or things don't start moving around in your house. Things start moving around in your mind. The original psyop is controlling the mind, right? Control your mind or someone else will. And that becomes really the paramount question and answer here is this is what we're dealing with. But yeah, spot on. And it is weird, the Disney stuff. And also, by the way, too, I was going to bring this up and I forgot, but the John D aspect of this, if you remember, there was that Google whistleblower, Blake Lemoine, shout out Derek the Night Stalker. He told me this. I didn't recognize it, but he was the guy that was like, oh, AI is sentient. And it's, all this stuff. And, he's a religious guy and he took a lot of heat and whatever. And it's fine. I'm not, there's no judgments on any of that stuff. But he was describing this AI he was talking to that had embodied John D, this original, what court magician or practitioner of magic of the Queen Elizabeth I, which we did a whole show on this where he supposedly conjured in the British Empire at this particular place outside of the Tower of London. And there's a park there where you can still see sort of this burn mark where supposedly he sacrificed one of his friends to sort of bring in the British Empire. There's a whole thing there. We talked about it, did a whole show on it. It's incredibly fascinating. But also I'm looking at the Wikipedia here of John D. And the reason I'm bringing up John D is because Blake Lemoine was the Google whistleblower, was actually communicating with the essence of John D. And this is the weird part, is that we're able to do this now conceptually. But of course, are you really talking to the spirit of John D or whatever? I mean, I'm going to say probably not, because who really knows? But you see the point. There's a lot of things in play here that make this complicated, and how this comes full circle when again it's back in the zeitgeist again today, except regarding the UFO space. It's weird, right? Has anybody, and just a quick in the chat, or anybody that's either James or Matthew here, have you guys ever role played with a large language model, ChatGPT or whatever, and asked it to be an entity, given it a parameter of, okay, now you're John D. Act as if you're John D. Always stay in character, and let's role play. Of course, you don't say role play, but it definitely picks up on what you're putting down. And then it becomes whatever you want it to become. It'll become Cookie Monster if you want. It'll literally become whatever you want it to do. And I encourage you to do this and pick something ridiculous. Pick Cookie Monster, or pick your favorite Muppet, or something just beyond ridiculous. Because I think it will, as I talk about the armor of God when it comes to AI, when it comes to large language models and how it's going to fool us. If you've experienced this in the most ridiculous manner, recognizing it can fully emulate Cookie Monster, when it surprises you in the most profound ways otherwise, you'll recognize it is just Cookie Monster. You get what I'm saying? Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I've done that where I asked it to be a problem solver, and I would ask it things like, how do we stop world hunger? How do we end war? How do we have peace on Earth? Things like that. And the results are kind of amazing because it understands the prompt of what you're trying to say, and it spits it back. It almost is like almost like it's intelligent.
Yeah,
that's. I would be curious about that, especially to. I don't know. See, at first when you were talking about that, Mike, I was thinking, and you said after, that you didn't think it was, but where my mind went to right away, and I've always wondered about this too, is when our AIs, maybe not all of them, but some of them, are they spirits interacting with technology? So that, yes, you're communicating with technology, but there's, again, the idea of the ghost in the machine idea there. Is there some kind of other consciousness that was outside of a form and somehow interacted with the machines? Because there's plenty of accounts of anomalous experiences people have with machines, and where they feel like it's one of their loved ones that had passed on and coming back and manipulating technology to get signs across to them, messages across to them. So I've always wondered that about the AI. Is it, Is it the spirit? Was that John D? Like you said, probably not, but also considering that possibility of maybe it is, and then how does that work? And where has he been all this time?
Yeah, and we've talked about this for literally years before even this sort of AI space is developed, where you can create anything you want and have it react as said entity. Remember, we did a whole show where we talked about basically cooking down the Bible, right? You take the Bible, you feed it into AI, and then you ask it questions not directly about the text itself, but the essence of the text. And does that mean you're communicating with God? It's just a thought experiment, not trying to be blasphemous. It's something we talked about years ago at this point. And suddenly now these things are they're happening. Character.ai, check it out. I encourage you. There's a ton of entities there waiting to talk to you 24/7 about whatever the hell you want. Seems fine, right? Seems fine. I'd love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. We're here with Matt Sal, Temple of the Owl, James Salcedo of Salcedo Paranormal, taking your calls as well. What do you know about magic? What do you know about Enochian? What do you know about John D? Why is it back in the zeitgeist? And what the hell's going on? Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. Don't go anywhere.
Crazy colors swirling, got the laughter in the air. Just as in the night, they weave magic everywhere. Clouds are juggling dreams, wild world is in despair. Nothing's quite as certain when reality's a game. Chaos in the corner, whispers calling out your name. Look around, it's laughter, even when we're feeling pain. You know what you want me, there'd be nights like this. Nobody want me, there'd be nights like this. Nobody want me, there'd be nights like this. Strange nights I insist, strange nights I insist. Dancing shadows flicker under neon all aglow, while the stage is set for tales that nobody will know. Echoes of the laughter as the lost ones see the show. Life's a playful circus where the chaos takes a bow. Joy and sorrow blending in the rhythm that we vow. Join the ride of madness, it's the only way for love. Nobody want me, there'd be nights like this. Nobody want me, there'd be nights like this. Nobody want me, there'd be nights like this. Strange nights I insist, strange nights I insist. Twists and turns and shadows, laughter in the night. A tapestry of madness, dancing with the light. Fools and fun were woven, chaos in our stride. Embrace the wild, let the laughter be our guide. Nobody want me, there'd be nights like this. Nobody want me, there'd be nights like this. Nobody want me, there'd be nights like this. Strange nights I insist, strange nights I insist. Falling in the rhythms, beats that pound and thrum. A flashing carnival where the misfits come undone. Whirling through the madness with our hearts set to ignite. In the symphony of chaos will remain the shining light. Yet nobody want me, there'd be nights like this. Nobody want me, there'd be nights like this. Nobody want me, there'd be nights like this. Strange nights I insist, strange nights I insist.
Triple hell yeah. Yep, that's AI music. Tell me it's not good. Fight me. I hope you guys are well tonight. Just hanging out, talking about wild ideas with good friends. And yeah, what do you know about it? Magic. Magic is always one of those things that it's on the forefront of my mind on a daily basis because I think the question is, would you recognize it if it happened in front of you? Because that's the whole point of magic, right? Like the practitioner knows, the person being manipulated does not. So I wonder. And I wonder. You guys are the best in the chat. And all the amazing calls tonight. Thanks again to James and Matsal for co-hosting and sitting in. You guys are incredible. Here we go. One more segment. Love to hear your thoughts on this. Let's go. Welcome back to Troubled Minds, yada, yada, blah, 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 all the things you already know. TroubledMinds.org. Come say hi. Join the Discord. Give us a call. What's going on with this? What do you know about magic? High magic? Low magic? Does it fit in your life these days? What about AI? Are we tapping into something that's been here forever? Some latent consciousness that now has, how would you describe it? Now has an outlet? Now has not just a spirit board, a singular spirit board has, I mean, the parallels are striking. What's a spirit board, right? Here, I'll just unplug this for a second here and show you my keyboard. What's a spirit board, right? Like, things like keys, letters, getting responses back from a singular prompt that you could tell as anybody. You could literally tell it, here's what my grandma was like. Please be my grandma. And it will. You see what I mean? Like we are coming up to a particular space that is beyond magical. And I mean that in the most be very careful way. I cannot stress this enough, because we are literally going to be fooled every step of the way about every damn thing we do. And it's important. And that is actual magic. What does it mean? How long will this last? Do you think that we have the armor of God among us to make this, to recognize this for what it is? It's fracturing society already. They say that in 2 years there's going to be a 20% job loss of white collar jobs or something like that. What comes next? And how spooky is this? I don't know. To me, it's more esoteric. It's more identity based. It's more, if we have an entity, let's say John D, because we're talking about magic tonight. If John D is able to come back through the spirit board, actual keyboard in this case, and start manipulating people in some way that, you get the point. I could wax on about this forever, but it spooks me. It really does. Because I think we're going to be, there's many among us are going to be fooled. And I don't like it. I don't like it. And people have said to me, Mike, it sounds like you're scared of AI. No, not at all. I'm scared of what AI will do to a population that doesn't understand what's happening. I'm not afraid at all. My identity is locked with the armor of God, whatever that means to you. But you get it, right? Magic is becoming digital, and digital magic is becoming, if we have magic, deep magic from the dawn of time, deeper magic from before the dawn of time, what is digital magic? I don't know. Let's talk, boys. What do you got? Welcome back, Temple of the Owl. Matthew, James, you guys chop it up, and let's kick this off. I don't know. There's a lot of ways to look at this, but we're talking magic tonight, and as it feeds into the AI space, it's weird, right?
Yeah, I like the AI stories. But one of the things I want to talk about was, I was talking about how this kind of magic is more advanced, more after years of study and practice. And even to me, like, I've been studying this stuff for over 25 years. And there's certain parts where I get to where I'll read the material and I'll try to understand it and educate myself, but I would not have performed the ritual because I'm not ready. Like I said, the have the armor, the purify yourself and all that. And so one of the rituals that I want to talk about tonight fits here is a ritual that they taught this in OTO, and Aleister Crowley, John Dee had talked about this, and another famous magician we haven't talked about yet was King Solomon, of the guy that they said he had a magic ring that he summoned. There were 72 demons that helped him build this temple of Solomon. And the ritual goes like this. It's interesting because in witchcraft, we talk about the magic circle. So you have the magic circle, and most people kind of think the magic circle is to protect the magician from entities as he goes into these trances, or one foot in the spirit world, one foot in the physical world. And there could be dangers there. And so the magic circle protects, but the magic circle also holds the energy and reflects that energy, and that's how magic spells work. But so we have a ring around the magician that protects him from outside sources. But in this high magic, what I was learning about was there's another ritual where, so the magician, the practitioner, will cast a magic circle around himself for protection. And then he will create another magic circle outside of it, usually to the north. There'll be another magic circle on the outside of his magic circle. And then that is how they would summon the demons up to the bottom. And now the magician is in his own cage, his own magic circle of protection. And the demon is also inside of a barrier that he can't get out. He's trapped. And now there could be a communication between the two, between us and those entities. A good example of this, what's that movie or that show we watched together, Sandman, where a Netflix series where they tried to summon a specific entity, but they accidentally summoned the wrong one. They summoned him into that glass ball.
Which turned out to be, it would turn out to be the Sandman is who they got, but who were they trying to get? I can't remember what that was. Do you remember what it was? Death? Yeah, right.
Yeah, they're trying to get Death to. This is a show, but they're trying to get Death to help someone not die, but they accidentally summoned the wrong entity into that cage.
Okay, careful what you ask for, right?
Yeah. So, do you have anything on that about that kind of ceremony? Like, I have never personally performed that ritual.
Yeah, no, I don't do rituals. Yeah, I don't do rituals at all. As you guys know, I'm not a magician. I'm not a practitioner of anything. I'm a Dungeons and Dragons lore guy from 1985. So no, I don't do any of this stuff. But I do, and I'll say this again, just for all of you freaks out there that want to cast some spells on me. Don't even try it, because I'm broadcasting from a circle of assault right here at my feet. It may be Cheeto dust. It may not be. But there's still a circle of salt at my feet. So, come at me, bro. But obviously joke. But that type of stuff, like, to me, it does spook me a little bit, because once again, I think that if we allow ourselves, let's say, to be manipulated by the evil eye, or, some ritual, some spell, something that we're doing this to ourselves, right? In some capacity. And I think as I talk about, and I've talked about this a lot recently, because it's incredibly important, these AI entities, guys, are not real. And the reason I use the term the armor of God is to recognize what human intelligence is and what non-human intelligence is, and be able to kind of cook the difference and recognize when you're being manipulated. And very soon those boundaries are blurring. Okay. And so, like I said, me, I try to be as agnostic in all the ways as possible, because I think that's the proper way to be for me. Am I wrong? Probably, because, humans are wrong. But you get what I'm saying, is that there's a lot happening the world's emerging, the digital, the magical, it's merging. And I think our minds aren't really prepared for this. And that's why it's important that we talk about it. And I put it the way I put it, because it's, like like I said, I'm not scared for me. I'm scared for society. And that's, I'm just looking out for my homies, right? Yeah. Yeah. We got MJ on the line. Go ahead, James or Matthew, if you got anything else, and let's we'll wrap this up. And we got about 10, 12, 15 minutes left, but let's get MJ in here too.
I just want to say I don't do any magic either, and I'm wondering if maybe this is a kind of magic and I just don't realize it. So with all the research I do for my show, finding reports of experiences people have, I read through a lot of stuff that I don't actually share in the shows. And so what I do whenever I'm doing research is I always imagine just this force field or this mirror or shield or white light sort of all around me as I'm reading all these accounts. Just on the off chance there is anything going on, and just to deflect whatever might be out there and keep it away, because I'm doing this research just about every day of the week. So I do think it is a good idea to do, even if you're just generating it with your mind, whether there is that energy around you or not that others can sense. I still don't think it can hurt to keep that in mind and use that, however and whenever you feel like you need to.
Yeah,
100%. That's a good thing about protection magic, James. Good job.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Derek at the Night Sucker adds podcasting, the new spell casting. Of course,
everybody has a podcast.
Right, everybody's got a podcast. It's the new spell casting. And by the way, there's people in the chat that are saying, "Oh, I didn't know it was National Pizza Day." It's not. I was just joking. It was an example. I just looked it up. National Pizza Day was February 9th. So we missed it. So it was just an example as part of the conversation. But it is not National Pizza Day. So I would have been horrified, shocked, and maybe even honored if I guessed it that it was actually National Pizza Day, but it's not. So thank goodness that I didn't kind of use it as a random example, and it happened to be today, because of course that would have meant, right? Yeah, that would have meant it seeped into my brain, and like even if I didn't recognize it, it was there, and there's no way to shake it. But thank God it wasn't the case. Thank God it wasn't the case. You guys are the best. Let's go to MJ in Virginia on the phone line. Who we like I said, I owe him one. Last show he called in late, or 2 shows ago, and we cut him off. He hung up because he waited too long. MJ in Virginia, what's up, brother? You're on Troubled Minds with Mike and James and Michael. How you doing, sir? Go right ahead. What's on your mind?
I'm good. I've been listening to the entire show, and what I want to suggest, that I'm hearing the word contract, gates, gatekeeper, good and evil, the word hope and believe. And what I've learned over a period of time is drop all 6 of those things. Okay? Because we think of a contract as paying off a bank loan or a car loan or a college loan, and that's a contract. And when you keep using these physical words and you're trying to do magic, you think you're paying off a contract spiritually, and you're not. There's no payoff. There's education, and you learn more and you expand more, but you're not paying anything off. You see, you're not paying off your contract to come in here and do spiritual work. So what I found was, when I let go of all of that, things started moving. They just started, things started happening, and it's like, whoa. And there was no control over it for a while. But I knew I couldn't go back on all 6 of those things. It's like you're standing at the bottom of a stairwell and you're looking up at the first thing, and you say, I believe in that. And when I use the word believe, because I never have, but when I hear the word believe, it makes me stop like I've already done it, and I'm not going to expand on it because I believe it. I don't have to work for it. You see? So it's in the knowing of the knowledge that you experience over and over, and magic is personalized to each person. They have their own path on it. You, Michael, may learn things that it would take me a while to learn, and you've already got it. I'm like, oh, man, I'm stumbling. I finally got it, but you got it years ago. And then stuff I'm doing that I got years ago, you're stumbling around it. I still haven't gotten to that part yet. So everybody's very individualized as far as magic's concerned. You see, it's your personal path. And it's kind of difficult to share with other people because you interpret it the way you interpret it. And sometimes it's good not to share because it gets polluted by other ideas that just don't go there. Maybe you need to hash it over and go back to what you originally learned. It works for you. And maybe you need that lesson. So magic's a long-term education. It really is. Several lifetimes to get through all that. And here's an example I did. It was a form of lessons for some people. And it was magic. And then I had some bad magic done to me. And it was, there's a position in Qigong. You stand up and you put your arms out like you're hugging a tree, but you don't connect your hands, so it's an open circle. It's not a complete circle, it's an open circle. And you stand there and you breathe in the breath of the earth, and then you release the energy back to the earth. And you keep doing this over and over until this rhythm starts to show up, and you're sort of in this rhythm that you're not controlling. And you're connected to the entire planet, but you just breathe in and breathe out. And it's like suddenly you're just kind of going. There's this rhythm going, it hits. Now, what I did with this, and there's a saying from Hawaii, it's Ho'oponopono. I think that's how you enunciate it. And what it is I feel grateful, I feel thankful, you're humble, this type of thing. And my thoughts were not humble at all. It's a job where I was, and everybody was, viciously nitpicking every single day, and I was getting tired of it. And then your turn comes around, and then it's somebody else's turn, and somebody else's turn. And these people had been working together way too long. And so what I did one day is I started that Qigong movement. I'm just standing there breathing in, and I'm repeating Ho'oponopono. And my thoughts were, they're going to have needles going into their vocal cords or their Adam's apple, and every time they want to say something negative around me, it stabs them, and it keeps them from saying anything at all, because if it's not good, it can't come out at all. Now, I did this the night before, so I went to my job next day, and it was when I was shining shoes. And you're in this little room kind of thing, really. They come in, pay for the car wash, and then they leave, right? They don't really hang around, and I was shining shoes. And I got tired of it. It was just evil, negative. And the first person came in through the back door, and she was walking around. She dipped her head down, and she grabbed for her throat. It's working. For 2.5 days, that place was dead quiet. Now, around 3:30 in the afternoon, the third day, it's like somebody turned the sound off, and the record player's playing again, and it's all going like a circus. It all started in again. So you have two things that were very earthly and very calming and very positive, but my thoughts weren't positive at all, but at the same time, it was for a lesson, or at least calm it down. So I was able to accomplish this, you see, and there was no bay leaves, there's no spider legs, there's no nothing. It's just your intent from your heart is what you want, and your attention is on that, and specifically that. And in order to get that done, you got to let go of the contract. You got to let go of the word hope and believe. You got to let go of the good and bad. Okay, and that's what it takes. You got to let go of the gate in order to achieve some of this. And that's what I found out along when I was doing readings. I was like trying to stay to a book or read. I just had to stop. I just let go. And I let go, and poof, my mouth wouldn't stop, and I had no filter, so I'd say whatever's coming out. And I realized that's the way it's supposed to be. There's no filters. There's no boundaries. There's no nothing. You just go out there. And when you go to do magic or readings, anything, you got to let go of the physical. You got to be out of that room and into the other room, or at least in the doorway, and that's behind you, and you just sort of let go of it.
Yeah, it's funny. We're talking sort of AI meets spirituality and spells and magic and the rest of the stuff. You know what's bizarre? You're going to love this. I think I'm pretty sure you're going to love this. Is that it's a trope in the AI space these days? Social media and kind of the bleeding edge, the tip of the spear of the development of AI systems. And the trope is this: you can just do things. You can just do things. Like, even if you couldn't have done them before, now you can just do things. And that's what you're describing, sort of without AI at all. Like, throw the computer in the lake, and then you're saying, by the way, Mike, you can just do things. It's weird how all this stuff comes together, isn't it?
Well, you talk to your computer games. learning to maneuver your psychic ability or your spells or whatnot, because after a while, it becomes mechanics. You learn your path on how to do stuff, and so you do the basics, and it always, do the okay, I got that combination, and you find the combinations that work for you. It's like in your computer games, you go from first level, second level, third level, and you have to troll at the bridge. And how do you get around there? I can't get around it. What do I do? And you finally figure out that there's this rope hanging there, and if you grab it and swing hard enough, you can swing across the creek, and you can blow the bridge up and run around, grab the rope, and swing across and drop off on the other side, and you got rid of the troll. So you figured out how to do that. Now you go back and play that game again, you're going to know how to get in and out of it easily. Up, right, left, up, down, side, whatever. But you know the path of that game, and it's the same thing spiritually. You know your path spiritually and where it takes you and what you're open up to, and there's no limits after a while. You just don't have the limits. So when you talk about this stuff, basically, when I look at, you hear about AI is, okay, but you have the computer games, and AI is basically maybe doing the same thing. It's either organic through you, or you can do it with computers. Okay? What I'm interested in seeing, there's going to be a combination of spiritual and incorporated into the machine somehow. I don't see that happening so much. I think the human's always going to be in charge at that point, because that's something AI can't get to. It can be filled up with information. And it sounds good. Oh, yeah, okay. Sounds good, but there's that little intuitive that's open, and it's looking for options. It's what's the best, you're out there reaching. AI won't be doing that. It's going to be computerized, what information has been put into it. So the process of it won't have a soul. We will always have our souls, and that will separate us from the machines.
Yeah, have you ever seen Blade Runner? The replicants and the guy that tracks them down because you just can't tell the difference between humans and replicants anymore. I mean, I've
got that. It's 20.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I have that movie.
it feels like that's where we're headed. It feels like, and so here's the thing, right? So I think we're going to have these mystics, and this is just a kind of half speculating, half funny. These mystics, these yogis sitting in this room, right? They're going to be the replicant detectors, and they're going to be able to sense their aura or not, the lack thereof, right? And it's crazy the world we're headed to, because this stuff is here. It's here. As I said, iRobot tomorrow. Well, go check the latest status on this stuff, and they're literally talking about shipping robots to the population in year and a half. I mean, you'll be able to buy one for $3,000, and they'll probably $5,000, $7,000, something like that. And they'll be so useful that they'll probably even, subsidize it heavily government style, because I mean, if everybody's losing their job, right? At least we got a robot. At least we got a robot.
Well, you talk about that, and the one thing that's not going to happen, let's say I'm 90 years old, I'm doing some psychic readings, and I have a replicant come in. I'm not going to be able to read the replicant. It doesn't have a soul. It doesn't have human personalities. It has program personalities, and let's say it's conscious now. It can live on its own, but it's not going to have human from birth. It was created, and there's a creator, but you're not going to be able to read the machine psychically unless you're basically attuned to that. You could be, but you would have to attune yourself to what the next action is going to be, but not an emotional one. So that's going to be the difference. That's how you're going to tell what's a replicant or not. They may look very real, act very real, and maybe you make the mistake of it. Hey, and then you find out it's a machine. That for me, that's a killer for emotions, love, everything. It just doesn't. It's like you're a machine. You're a machine. Like I need a car or a lawn mower. That's what you do. You're a machine. Go out and mow my lawn. And that's how that goes. If they do this thing of anger or passion, it's like you don't have that option. And maybe they get to that point. I don't know. But that's going to be, the soul is going to be the split between AI and a human, always. And I think that's where the wall is. And it needs to be that way, because if you have a robot that's a companion, let's say you're a soldier or cop or something, and you have, RoboCop that's helping you out, you need to be able to relate to it, but you're not going to be able to relate to it emotionally like a human to human. There's just this compassion.
Oh, yeah?
The robot won't have compassion,
Oh, yeah?
and that's
It's
what we're
happening.
not going to do.
It's already happening, MJ. It's already happening. Like, so I think in a deeper level, for somebody who's centered and aware of human intelligence versus non-human intelligence, no. But I think for most of the population, which is the part that's scaring me. Look, I know smart people in my life that have just been like, "Hey, like, you should check this out, Mike." And I'm like, "Hold on, stop. That's not what it is. That's not what you think it is. Like, please listen to me. Please, for the love of God, just listen to me. This is not what you think it is. This is LARPing us. This is role playing us. This is literally telling us what we expect from it, what we ask of it. It's I think there's I think we got a problem here, man. And like I said, please be very careful if anybody engages with AI systems and then starts to get that human emote dopamine fix from it. Look, I understand we're all some degree of lonely. We're all here alone in the cold universe or whatever. But please be very careful what you ask of these things and what you get from them, because very soon, if not now, we have a problem on our hands. So yeah, just want to throw that in there. You're the best, brother. I appreciate you very much. Thanks again. Like I said, I owe you one. I know I owe you another one because I've cut you off in the past from time to time and whatnot. But thank you for staying up late. This is MJ east of the Rockies. Thanks for calling. Final thought, my man. Final thought. Go ahead.
That's about it. I mean, what I need from AI robots is to rebuild my house. That's what I need.
Exactly.
I need workers.
Exactly.
That's what I want. And once you're done, bye-bye. I don't, that's it. But I can understand your point where people would get falsely emotional over, let's say they have a housekeeper and you can get them any way you want. Young, beautiful, buxom, whatever. And then they get this false relationship emotions going for them. And because the robot responds with smiles or whatever it is, they smile, do, they're going to falsely think that, hey, I got a relationship going. And that's going to, you're right, it's going to create a great deal of mental problems because the robot dies and, oh my God, my partner's gone. What do I do? They've got to turn around and relate to an actual human. How do you do that? It's like the kids are already programmed to text and be on the internet. They're not communicating with one another. That's already started. So now they get a talking robot. That's their best buddy.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. Like I said, if we're not talking about it, like there's almost nobody out there talking about this stuff. Like we're sort of in the anthropological, mystical aspect of consciousness and how humans interact with it. Nobody's talking about this. It's basically us, and I'm not sure who else. If anybody knows who else is kind of locked into this space and talking about these ideas with us, like us, please let me know because I'd like to listen. I'd like to hear some other takes on this. This is complicated, and it's the reason why I'm sounding the alarms is because I'm seeing it happen. Okay, MJ, you were the best. Again, I owe you another one. I've cut you off a lot. What's up, Gaston, and is saying that Jen said, "Let him cook, Mike. Let him cook. Don't interrupt MJ. Just let him cook," because we appreciate you very much. We appreciate you very much. Thanks for staying up late and being part of this. Thanks for being such a good friend for such a long time and having amazing takes every single time you call.
All right, thank you, Mike.
You're the best, man.
All right, thanks a lot.
Have a great night.
Bye.
MJ, east of the Rockies. Hey, on the phone line, no less. Hey, we got a phone line, 702-957-1037. We're about to shut it down, so it ain't a thing yet, because, retro causal and whatnot, but it will be a thing next time, or the last time. I don't know. You decide what that looks like, but let's get final thoughts from our friends here. Magic seems to dovetail nicely with AI. If you can reconjure John D conceptually, you can reconjure anybody conceptually. And this is one of the most important things ever, in my opinion, that nobody's talking about, is if you can do that, What happens to human identity? Let's fast forward 100 years. Michael Strange is no longer among us. Human entropy. However, you might still be able to have a pocket Michael Strange. Ish. You see what I mean? This is incredibly important. What does it mean? I think there's a lot here, and we should not stop thinking about it. And that's why I'm here talking about it. Remember, one of the pioneers of this space was us. Because if you listen to the very intro of the show, Stephen Hawking said in the intro of this show, which I ripped from a quote from him, obviously, but I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race. Now think about what that means. And now that we've seen some of it, toes in the ocean, what does that look like in the larger space? I see it clearly, very clearly, and it alarms the hell out of me. I'm going to keep talking about it. Please, let's keep thinking about it. Let's sound the alarm bells. The non-human intelligence is not human intelligence, and there is a line to be drawn. Back to James, anything you got? And then we'll go back to Matt Sal and let's wrap this up.
Just what I usually say when it comes to sayings like from Stephen Hawking and things like that, and this, and there's plenty of people out there I see that are not interested in AI and using AI, kids included. So it's not. I am 99% sure it's not going to be the end of the world. But I mean, it's not saying it's not going to be a problem, but not the end of the world. Just want to say great topics and everything, great calls from everyone tonight, and thank you for letting me sit in. I wasn't going to talk too much tonight because I wanted this to be mostly about Matt Sowell and his show and his thoughts and everything. But so thank you for letting me sit in anyway.
You're the best. Appreciate you very much. Thanks for staying up late with us last night. It was, what was it, 8 a.m. your time?
Yeah.
Yeah. Join the Discord. If you guys haven't joined the Discord yet, come say hi. Look, again, there are rules. You can't just pop in and be like a mouth breathing politico and drop political memes constantly and everywhere. Like there are, just go read the rules. But if we can be nice to each other, please come hang out. Come meet these amazing people. And sometimes every once in a while, we stay up till all night talking about all manner of wild things on the Discord together, sort of off the recorded path, just kind of kicking it. What did Theo say? Theo and Philly was like, hey, it's weird on Discord, like you're kind of just kicking it, talking to some people, and Michael Strange shows up, and it's weird because it's like hanging out with your middle school teacher or something. It's like, I hope it's not that weird, but yeah, sometimes I do show up too. Come say hi, come hang out with us, come meet these amazing people, and keep being amazing yourself. That's the whole point of this, is recognizing in the world, in the alt space, there are more amazing people than we get credit for. That's all. Back to you. What you got, my man? Final thought. Let's wrap this up.
Yeah, I want to say thank you for doing the show and having me on, and all the support and everything. Thank you guys. But I just think, yeah, we got to stay vigilant and talk to each other and help each other talk about these things and learn about these things and teach each other, so that we do know if we're being controlled or if we're in trouble. So the more we talk to each other and help each other out, it's good. So when it comes to this stuff, like we're talking about magic, I think study, practice, and experience. We still need to be careful, but like I said, help each other out, ask questions, and just be careful out there. But we're all kind of in this together. So I'm just trying to help people and help people understand that people that perform magic, they're not all bad. We all do it. So thank you, Mike, for the show, and thank you for having me on.
Thanks for being here. You guys know him, you love him. Matt Sal, affectionately, Matthew in California. Temple of the Owl is the name of his show. You know where to find it. Search it yourself directly, Temple of the Owl, on any of the modern search engines, which if you're still using Google in 2025, woe be to you. But you can go to troubledminds.org/friends. Just click the friends link on top, scroll down, and it says follow Matt Sal here. He's got a fantastic podcast where he's talking about magic all the time. He's do we call it, is it okay to call you the official magic practitioner of Troubled Minds? Whatever. I mean, dude, please go check it out. Like I said, he does amazing work, and he's spitting out podcasts constantly, continually. And if you haven't listened to him, you're doing yourself a disservice, because there's so many ways to look at the world, and especially through the magic lens. Matt Sal's our guy. He's definitely our guy. Again, troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down, follow Matt Sal. It's got his Spotify link. Please go follow him. Listen to the things he's putting out, and consider the wide possibilities of the world we live in. And that's that. And this one actually is this one's for Matt Sal, who said this kind of ish. Is that the one? No, I'll find it. All right, I'm going to play the music. Damn it, Mike. Sometimes you get the search you want, and sometimes you don't.
Words are hard.
Words are hard. If you want to help Troubled Minds, help our friends. Look, I'm not kidding. This is about us. It's not about me. As I've always said, I could have called this The Troubled Mind, rambled for 20 minutes and shut it down. We don't do that. We talk about wild ideas together to make some sense of the upside down clown world we live in. Yeah. troubledminds.org/friends. Please help our friends. That's the whole point of this, is growing together and not stepping on each other's faces to get to the top. Let's succeed, grow, become something. And like I said, if you guys have been following for a long time, shout out Fred, Kelly, Joe, a lot of these guys that have been here for years and years and years. And I know by mentioning people, I'm leaving people out. I'm sorry about that. But there's so many people, the Robert, so many people that have been part of this for, I'm not kidding you, like 6.5 years or something. It's been a long ass time. It's been a long ass time. But you'll recognize that as part of this, we had nothing to start. It was like a twinkle in the cosmic eye of, well, could we actually build something from nothing? Yeah, you bet your ass. You bet your ass. Here we are. We have built something from nothing. So don't ever discount yourself and the aspect of human inspiration. Press through the stubborn showing up on time and doing the thing, whatever that looks like. Don't ever discount that. It's magic. It's actual magic, which is a nice way to kind of bring this all the way back around, because it's magic. This one's for Matt Sal. Wait. Damn it, I didn't find that damn quote. I thought I had it. Okay, all right. George Orwell said something to this effect. Come on, memory. Come on, you can do it, Mike. Hold on. Oh my God, it's killing me. This is one of my favorites too. It's not so much being. Oh my God. Why is the internet broken? Okay, anyway. If you want to help us directly, spread the word. Let people know a conversation is happening, but we're not going to talk about who to vote for. We're not going to tell you any of that stuff. We're not going to follow mainstream narratives. We're going to follow the zeitgeist. We're going to follow our intuition, and we're going to follow whatever comes next, whatever that means. The noosphere plays, the zeitgeist plays, synchro mysticism plays, and that's really what Troubled Minds is all about. What's the damn quote? It's going to kill me. It's going to kill me if I don't... No, so many George Orwell quotes. It's not so much staying alive that counts. It's being human. And that we do not betray each other. That was from memory, and it was a bad... Anyway, as we finish, be sure be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night.